Thank you so much for tuning in to the Fourth Line Plugs podcast. I'm your host, Colin.
And I'm Jackson.
And today we are going to be talking hockey with all you fine people. We're going to be starting off with some short introductions, and then we're going to be jumping into some draft breakdown of the first round, and we're going to wrap it up with some discussion on NHL alternate jerseys here. And I think we have a great episode for all of you listeners. So, like I said at the top, my name is Colin. I'm one of the two co-hosts of the Fourth Line Plugs podcast. I've been a hockey fan since birth, basically. There are like infant photos of me in Toronto Maple Leafs jerseys with family and stuff. I am a Toronto Maple Leafs fan. I was born into the curse. But I'm also a big Stars fan, as I live in Dallas and grew up in Dallas and played in the Stars system, or not their system, but like their junior leagues and stuff, their youth leagues. So, just being around the team, and the organization a lot, and then Stars games are pretty affordable. So, I've been to a fair share of Stars games. It's just fun to be a fan of the local team. Mm-hmm. And then also, my third team is the Pittsburgh Penguins. Sidney Crosby's my favorite player of all time. He was the guy that I wanted to be while growing up, and he has just been amazing as a player and a human, and somehow has pretty much lived up to the Gretzky level hype, as close as you could pretty much get, insanely. So you have to argue with that?
I said I'm not going to argue with you.
Oh, not going to argue. Okay, I was saying whoa, what's the argument that he's not
no.
lived up to it? I mean, obviously he's not Gretzky, but as close as you pretty much could be with the goaltending he's faced in.
He'd
in
never
the
be
NHL.
a traitor to Canada.
Absolutely never. So yeah, but I'm also just a huge fan of the sport. So if it's a Tuesday night and none of my favorite teams are playing, but there's a Sharks Blues game, I'll sit down and I'll watch that. I'm just a massive fan of hockey. It's not just Leafs, Stars, Pens, or nothing for me. So, how about yourself, Jackson?
We could not have more different backgrounds, I would say, in hockey. As a Houston native, hockey was never born in Houston, raised in Houston. Hockey was never really a thing for me growing up, but actually visited family that I had in the Northeast, and they introduced me to hockey a little bit, and I had to pick a team. I picked the Penguins. I had heard Sidney Crosby's name before, being a giant sports fan and stuff like this. This was, 20 years ago, probably, something like that. Mm-hmm. So, I had heard Sid's name. I thought it was funny that a team was named after the Penguins. So that was the background there. But I really enjoyed hockey. I really liked it. Obviously, I got to see a fucking amazing team. Right,
mm-hmm. Picked a good team.
Picked a good team. That's always going to be a good thing for you. So,
yep.
I'm a Penguins fan first and foremost for sure. I have been following the Stars a little bit. I went to college in Dallas. Been to a couple Stars games. It's pretty cool, but that was not the team that I picked when I was first starting out. So, and I also love just hockey in general. It's always fun to throw on a game, just watch. So,
yeah, and we're big sports fans of kind of all four sports. In different ranges. Mm-hmm. You're much more of a baseball head than I am.
Oh yeah.
But I mean that also going back to the local team, the Rangers' success is kind of what got me into baseball, and mm-hmm. when they signed Seager and Simeon, and it's okay, the team's getting kind of decent, and then they go on a great run, and it's really just fun to be a fan of the mm-hmm. team in the city.
Oh,
even
if
you don't know everything, if you're not the biggest fan of baseball or whatever sport it is, just there's just a lot of energy in the city whenever the team is good.
Yeah, and you get to follow. It's fine to follow teams when they're bad too. As someone who grew up with the good Astros when they had Biggio, Berkman, Bagwell, made it to the World Series in 2005, and then just died. as a franchise for we're tanking forever, and then you get to see the rise again. So obviously, the Penguins are in that phase of their of their thing right now, and I'm still a fan. I'm still following through. So
All right, so we're gonna get into first round draft grades here. These grades are real. I don't know how you want to say loosey goosey. Like, these are not like hours and hours of film and stat breakdowns.
We're not scouts.
Looking at them, we are not scouts. Yeah, 100%. We are hockey fans that just have watched a fair bit of highlights and have looked into these guys. Obviously, you being a major Pens fan and me being a minor Pens fan, we are interested in the draft.
Yes.
I wasn't looking at it too much for the Stars and Leafs because, they trade those picks off instantly.
We will not be reviewing any Stars or Leafs picks.
No,
today.
in fact, there's actually a lot of people who may just skip through this because like a quarter of the draft was like Pittsburgh, the Islanders, the Hawks, and Nashville. Picked like 12 of the 32 picks. There were a ton of teams that were not represented at this draft because they traded off everybody. But yeah, we're gonna give a very loose grade to each player, and then whenever the last pick of that team comes through, then we'll give like a overall thoughts and pick of their haul as a collective. And if they only have one pick, then we'll just talk about their grade at that one pick. But we're going to kick it off with Matthew Schaefer. Was the first pick of the draft, defenseman, left-hand defenseman. He was my number one player in this draft. I don't think it was as clear as everybody made it out to be. Like, I think Misa is close to Schaefer.
Misa's really good.
But like, I saw a lot of commentary leading up to the draft. It was like Schaefer is like the guy. I was like, I think there's a decent argument that Misa could be ahead of Schaefer. Everybody below that, I'd say these two are like the clear cut top two. But yeah, Schaefer is so good. He's just an outstanding puck handler and skater. Like, him in transition, he doesn't just take it out of his zone, but his ability to go through multiple defenders and forwards, and then distribute that puck or shoot it himself. I didn't see him as like an amazing goal scorer with the puck. Like, I don't think he's going to be hitting Cale Makar's 30 goals this season. I don't think he's as good as Cale Makar either. I realized I brought up Cale Makar, then realized I should not have brought up Cale Makar. I'll back out of that real quick.
Not the comp.
Not the comp. But kind of similar in just like that great puck handler and skater. And also, he was a good board battler in his own zone. I didn't see too much of him in like space defending or like net front clearing. But like along the boards, he was good at scooping out the puck and moving it to a player. And yeah, I thought he was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, not a lot of holes in his game, right? Just kind of a complete player. Like, the kind of like he's very good at everything. Didn't really have any holes. I think he'll probably translate to the NHL extremely well.
Yeah.
And that's probably why he was picked. I mean, first, can we talk about the biggest skill in this pick, which was the Islanders winning the lottery?
True. Moving up what, 9 spots in the lottery?
Right, I mean,
and what a great time with Dobson, like that whole Dobson trade situation going on. It's like, oh well, this hurts a lot less.
Yeah, we'll get into the haul that they got for Dobson later, but I mean, basically replacing Dobson with Schaefer here means that their blue line depth did not get hit nearly as hard as it could have. So
yeah. I think he's like a perennial all-star kind of player. I don't think he's going to be like that superstar.
Yeah.
He might contend for a Norris like once or twice, but not going to be like that Hedman, Hughes, Makar, like pencil him in for a Norris nomination every year.
I'd be surprised if he wins a Norris, but I would not be surprised If he's the best defenseman on a cup contending team, if the Islanders can
Yeah.
get there, I think he could be that true number one option.
Yeah.
At a ceiling, So yeah. Let's move on to Misa then, I guess.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, you mentioned it before. Misa was, always put it at this number two. Not Schaefer was the consensus number one. It was pretty close. I think. I think there's a world where you can totally take Misa over Schaefer here. I think this kid is just insanely good. I mean, just a natural goal scorer, natural playmaker. I mean, he really does like everything that you want out of a forward. I see him more as a winger, especially with where he landed on the Sharks. But I mean, he played a bit of center, I believe. So
I have him 50-50 center winger. I think he could play either one.
He could
and on the Sharks, with Will Smith is also like a 50-50 winger center. They can kind of deploy those two, whichever one fits next to Celebrini or whichever one fits as the 2C. They have flexibility there.
Yeah, but I mean, to me, the big thing here is just like, geez, is this Sharks forward core is just absolutely nuts. Like the ceiling on these guys. I mean, like this is another potential point per game forward that they've just added here to Celebrini, to Smith. I mean, like they're absolutely rolling in talent. It's going to be up to their blue line, I think, to determine. Dickinson. Freaking Erik Karlsson trade Dickinson. We'll see how he turns out. I think.
Dolan.
Yeah. Yeah, they've got some options on the back end, I think, but I think you can look at this forward group and you can say, God, is this something you can build off of for years to come?
Absolutely.
So,
And one thing I really loved about Misa is he was an amazing forechecker with like he's picks off passes and also just like steals the puck off defensemen. At least in juniors, he did it a ton.
Yeah.
So you're not just getting like a one-way goal scorer, which is kind of what I thought he was going into the draft or going into looking at him, and I wasn't expecting him to have like a forechecking. Like I could see him as a Marner-esque like PK guy. That he isn't like the biggest, most physical defensive guy, but you put him on the PK and you catch a defenseman, lacking on a DDD pass or something, and he could just pick that off and just rip it on a breakaway. Like
for sure.
He has that two-way side to his game where I think he's really known as a goal scorer, but he kind of is a two-way player.
It's that hockey IQ, right?
Yeah.
That really, really sets you up for success on both sides of the ice a lot of times. So.
And it kind of shows it in his goal scoring that he doesn't have like he's not purely just like this great shooter, but he has like some of those greasy goals. He does the new goal that some people really hate of just setting up backdoor with your skates and sticking a line behind a goalie. Like he has a couple of those in his pocket in his highlight reel. So he has that high hockey IQ.
Yeah, I mean they're gonna love him, I think.
So next up, Anton Frondell, who out of Sweden, which there was not a lot of Euro talent in this draft. This is a very CHL, very Canadian represented draft. But yeah, Frondell taking 3 here to the Chicago Blackhawks. I was on this Frondell train. I had him at number 3 pretty much throughout the entire draft process. I think there is a gap between him and Misa and Schaefer. I think he is clearly 3. But yeah, this guy has an amazing shot. To me, he is the only guy in this draft that is a like threat to maybe get 50 in a season in his career. Probably won't. Like 50 is like definitely a ceiling, but I think he's the only guy that has that ceiling. Just an absolutely nasty shot. He has good size. To me, he leans wing in the NHL. We'll see. He did play some center, but to me, most of what I saw of him was a winger. He's going to have to stay healthy. He's dealt with a lot of injuries. But there's quite a few guys in this draft, and there are guys in historically who have had those injury problems and just go on to have great careers. So
Yeah,
Frondell, just like the goal scoring upside is just crazy on him.
It for sure, yeah. He is a very good scorer. He was also someone willing to hit, has a man's body already, and willing to use it. I think those are great pluses for him. I don't see the ceiling quite as high. Maybe he could be a 50 goal scorer. I think that's still a valuable player to have. Obviously 50 goal scorer would be. I mean, more like a 35, 40 goal scorer, right? Yeah. Those are great players, right? But he was not 3 on my board. I had him a little lower just because I liked some of the guys below him and the potential ceiling that they had a little bit higher. I do think he's gonna be an impact like very soon. On Bedard's wing maybe not there, but like I could totally see him coming in and making an impact really quick just because of the time that he spent playing against men in Sweden. The size of his body, the physicality of his game. I think all that stuff is gonna come in really well. I don't think he has a lot of development ahead of him, but to me that also meant I didn't see as much of a potential ceiling. So we'll see where he ends up though. Yeah. So next up, we can talk about Caleb Desnoyers, who went to Utah at 4, another beneficiary of some lottery luck. And I think they're going to be ecstatic with this pick. I mean, I know you aren't as high on it, but I love Caleb Desnoyers. I think this guy is a true center. In this, the first one here, right? Misa, Frondell, both probably not going to be centers in the NHL. If I had to bet, Desnoyers is 100% a center. I don't think he has like bona fide elite 1C potential, but I think he's going to be a guy that is extremely two-way minded, extremely good playmaker, super high hockey IQ. Like everything I saw from him was just like what you want to see out of a player that you pick up. Like I mean, he's just got really no holes in his two-way game. He doesn't have like an elite shot. He doesn't have like anything really elite, but he just does everything at such a high level. Like I think the sky is really, I mean, not, the sky is really the limit in terms of what he can offer to a team. So I think Utah is going to be ecstatic to get this kind of player in their system, even if he's like a 3C on like a super stacked Utah squad, right? Because they're pretty solid up the middle, right? Like I mean, like that he could be like a 60-point 3C for them, like just carrying lesser players on his wings. Like that's the kind of player I think he could be. So
yeah, I have him at 7 in my rankings. It's not that I'm not high on Desnoyers. I feel like if I'm talking about a guy if I'm taking a top 5 pick, I just kind of want to get somebody with maybe a little more upside. I feel like he's a very high floor player. Like, aside from some skating issues that he will need to work on, along with a ton of people in this draft, I think Frondell even could use some slightly better skating. But to me, I think Desnoyers is almost guaranteed an NHL player, almost guaranteed to be a contributor.
Yeah.
And like you said, on this Utah roster, since this is the only pick for Utah, we can kind of talk about his fit. He could fit in very quickly here, depending on what they want to do with Barrett Hayton, who's an RFA after the season, 25. Is he part of the long-term plans of this team, or could he be outed as a 2C? Or Nick Schmaltz, who's also expiring UFA this year, could he take one of their spots looking long-term on this team?
Maybe. I could also, like I said, I could also see him just being a 3C, right? Replacing Jack McBain there on the third line.
Yeah.
And just being, like, he has that potential to be a very defensive-minded player. Like, the two-way game is extremely good. So I could easily see them just running, like, 3 killer lines, honestly.
Yeah. This team could be so stacked. Like, they are one more great defenseman away, in my mind.
Yeah.
And then maybe Vejmelka's probably good enough, but is he, like, reliable for you to win a cup?
Yes.
Like,
yeah,
he's like as good as Aiden Hill. And
He just has to get hot. He just has to get hot at the right time, right?
Yeah, exactly.
He just has to get hot at the right time.
Yeah. But yeah, this team is absolutely stacked. And I think Denier will find a spot on this roster relatively soon if he can clean up the skating just a little bit.
Yep.
So next up is Brady Martin, who is kind of my first guy that I think was taken too high. He went 5 to Nashville. I had him at 11, or wait, where's my ranking? Yeah, 11, which is lower than a lot of people had him. But like, to me, this is just not a top 5 pick kind of player. He's very good defensively, generates turnovers, and will very quickly get it over to a forward who is, streaking, who is available to generate a scoring chance or in transition. Also, like Misa, very good on the forecheck at picking off a defenseman and creating a scoring chance. He also has a great shot when he decides to use it. He very rarely flashes it. And I don't know if that's like a confidence thing or, something that he just wants to defer to somebody else. If he felt like somebody else has a better opportunity or maybe was a better shooter on that Sioux Greyhounds team. But whenever he flashed that shot, it was like, oh, wow, this is a great shot. And there's a few other guys that we'll talk about later on that I feel very similar to. Like, they just, out of nowhere will just rip a shot that they don't show a lot in their game. But I think he's a center in this league. He could end up being a winger, but I think he's a center in this league. And I heard a lot of people saying Sam Bennett. I just don't see that upside for him to be Sam Bennett. I think he'll probably be a decent player. I don't know that he's necessarily a top 6. Like, he might be a third liner. I think really good third line center.
3C.
And like, I just don't know if I'm taking like a guy who could be a good 3C at 5 personally. Yeah. But I don't think it's a terrible pick. 'Cause I think anywhere between like 5 to where I have him at 11 is like a pick your poison, like whichever flavor you want. So like, it's not terrible, but personally, I would rather take a little more upside.
It's an interesting choice for Nashville, I think, because, and we'll talk about some of their other picks because they had multiple in the first round. But, this is the kind of pick that you would expect from a team that thinks that they're close. I would say, because of the I think the higher floor, the lower ceiling, right? This is like you're rounding out your roster with like who you think might be like he's got that dog in him, right? He's like, he could be like that edge that you need to get over the hump, right? To like really take your thing to the next level. But I mean, I don't see him as anything other than like a third line center, honestly. I don't think he's playing 2C unless he's stacked with top 6 wingers or something like that. I don't know how that would work out, but at that I really like him, but I agree with you. I think this is a little bit of a reach. And it'll be interesting to examine him along with Nashville's other picks when we talk about like what their drafting strategy might have been going into this, because it's a little odd.
Yeah, Martin is like the kind of guy you want to sign at free agency. It's like put your team over the top.
For sure.
Like if you're any of these contending level teams, and like you could just like add a Brady Martin, then like you would love that, right? Florida would love to just like pick up a Brady Martin. A developed Brady Martin.
Yeah, in like 7 years, this guy is gonna get way too much money in free agency.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
He's gonna get a dumb contract because you're gonna see flash. Yeah, because that's the kind of player that he is. So
he'll have like a 28 goal season, and push his team
bunch of hits.
Yeah, maybe have a great playoff run for Nashville if they are able to put the pieces together. And he'll go score like goal per game in like 2 rounds, and then like get this crazy contract.
Yeah, put up 5 goals in 2 series, and people will be like, oh my. Yeah. All right. Next up is Porter Martone to the Flyers. I thought this was an interesting pick to me. I mean, first to talk about Martone, I loved Porter Martone. I think
Same.
he is a fantastic winger. He's got like just like the typical like power forward type of vibes to him. Like he's able to win puck battles in the corners. He's able to get a little bit dirty. He's got a great shot. Like he's got a really good vision and playmaking as well. I kind of liked him at 3 actually to Chicago. I thought he would have been like the perfect partner for Bedard.
He really would have.
On that. So, that's what I have to say about Martone. Great things. But for Philly, it's a little bit weird to me because I think this is like not really addressing like a need. Like they do not have really any options at center for the future. They are just bone dry there. They've got winger talents. They've got whatever you want, and they just don't have a top center. And with this 6th pick in the draft, I mean, there were several centers picked, after that I think could have been the pick here potentially for Philly. So it's an interesting one. I don't think like I said I think they're getting better than expected value because I had Martone at 3-4 in my board. I really like him, but for the fit there, I think it's just a little bit of an odd pick.
Yeah, I agree. I think center made a lot of sense for them. I had him at 4, so I think they're getting good value. Mm-hmm. And like anytime you can get a guy like Martone, even if he doesn't necessarily fit your roster or your organization construction right now, like I think you kind of should just take Martone because I think he is better than a lot of the centers that were available. Personally,
yeah, maybe so.
I don't know that he's necessarily like superb. I didn't see a ton in his game defensively. Watching highlights, you don't always see that side of it unless he like makes a highlight reel play on that end and takes it coast to coast. But he's a great puck handler for a power forward. A lot of power forwards usually aren't great skaters, aren't great puck handlers.
Yeah.
But he's a great puck handler, great scorer, has good offensive offensive read, offensive IQ, can distribute as well. I think it's good value. Again, like you said, their centers are pretty dry. We'll talk about one coming up here soon in this draft that they did take. But yeah, I because I think I love Martone so much, I can't say this is like a bad pick.
Oh, for sure.
It's a little questionable, but it's not like I like this more than the Brady Martin pick.
Sure.
So talking up next is James Higgins. Got taken 7th to Boston. Not going to be needing to move very far, as he is a Boston College player. And Higgins, he is a guy that kind of had a very interesting like rise and fall in the pre-draft process, where like a year ago, I don't think he was getting a lot of love. And then he had like a great season at Boston College and then played on that US juniors line with Gabe Perreault and Ryan Leonard that just like ripped through everybody at juniors and ripped through Canada as US cruised to a gold medal. And something was like, oh, Higgins, he's right up there. Higgins, Misa, Schaefer, in whichever order you like.
He was projected as high as 1,
Oh, yeah. He spent time at 1.
Like,
And he started to slip later, especially once Perreault and Leonard left. And I'm not sold on Higgins as being that guy. I have him at 5. But like I had him definitely below Frondell and Martone. Like I think there was a gap there, and Higgins is the top of like this next tier of like from him to Martin. I think he is a center at the NHL level, but he could be a winger, just because of his size. Boston, and the size is the big issue. He is a very good distributor of the puck, good playmaker. But whenever I watch James Higgins, I'm saying, oh, dude, these Perreault and Leonard dudes are crazy. And, like, I feel like that's not really what you want to be saying when you're
Hey,
trying to watch Higgins.
but like when he's got pasta to distribute to, right?
Right.
Like,
So like if the timeline works out to where he can
yeah,
play with Pasta while Pasta's still like a reasonable player,
right.
because Pasta's what 29 right now, so he'll probably get some
Yep.
decent back end years with Pasta, and if they can add another
If he is a 1C at the NHL level, right?
good winger or playing on the wing next to Pasta with they eventually get another center in their system. I think he has all the talent, but I'm just not sold on it necessarily translating to the NHL if he's not going to play with great players, because we didn't really see him not play with great players too much.
That's a good point. I think this was a slam dunk pick for Boston. I think this is just a product of the draft not being as fantastic as maybe people wanted it to be, because like realistically, like the fit here is perfect, right? This is a like really high level playmaking 1C potential player, right, that they got here. It's just like, is it the right one? Like, is he actually going to get there is a bit of a question. With smaller guys like Higgins, I think they can play above their size. When they have something that gives them an edge, maybe some physicality, maybe it's like some shifty skating, right? Those kind of things can be there. I'm not convinced Higgins has that to really succeed at the NHL level. But I mean, all of the like everything else is just there, right? Like if this guy was like 3 inches taller, like, I mean, is there even a question? Like, it would have been, it would have been taken immediately. So the potential is definitely there for him to reach that, and I think, I think this was a good pick from Boston. I think they got good value. So
I think it's great for Boston because that's a team that is now that a lot of guys have aged out is kind of talent deprived in a lot of their lineup. Obviously, they still have like Pasta, McAvoy, Swayman, like these like great cornerstones of like your 3 levels of your team, but there's not a lot of talent behind them.
yeah,
So like just getting a guy that could be a superstar in Higgins, I think is super worth it. And I think Higgins and we'll talk about O'Brien next. I think both of them fall victim to Florida's success, in that, like, do you see either of these players being people that Florida would prioritize and trade for and like actively seek out?
Sure.
Probably not. And I think there are a lot of teams that may have done in their draft and their free agency kind of decision making process may have leaned towards that, to where guys like Brady Martin, maybe even a guy like Desnoyers, even though I don't think he's quite as Florida-y, but definitely some guys that we'll talk about coming up may have moved up, and guys like O'Brien and Higgins, who have that clear talent, may have fallen because they're not Florida-y, Florida-ish.
Yeah, and that talent, that development can always make up for size. We've seen small players be successful, all the time. So
yeah,
it's just a little harder in today's
I mean,
day.
Cole Hudson's like 5'5" or something like that. With Montreal, I think he's actually like 5'10", but like for a defenseman, he's like small, and like nobody wants to get a 6-foot defenseman anymore. But then Cole Hudson is out here winning Rookie of the Year and looks fantastic. So, I think
Lane Hudson.
Yeah, Lane Hudson. Sorry, not Cole Hudson. He's in Washington system. Yeah, Lane Hudson. And then like Zellweger out in Anaheim looks really good. He's also under 6 foot. So I think there's like definitely going to be a wave of Florida type players. But I think if the talent's there for Higgins, it'll shine through, and I think he'll be a good pick. And then also they can like secretly work with him because he's like down the street.
That's really cool.
And,
honestly,
keep
that's
tabs on
really
him.
cool that they've got that. So,
which I don't know if like they'll actually do that, or if they're just gonna like kind of let him have fun at BC and develop however he will with BC, or if they'll be very hands on. But it's kind of cool to have him down the street. As I alluded to, Jake O'Brien was taken 8th to the Seattle Kraken. And I'm a big O'Brien guy. I had him at 6. I think a lot of the same things about Hagens that I do think about O'Brien. Probably a center, but could play wing. He has an amazing ability just to find gaps in the offensive zone, whether that's for setting up passes or scoring. He's really good in tight at getting deflections, that kind of backdoor tap-in play, and just like a really quick shot in tight. Not a great shot from range from outside, but just very quick release kind of in close. And he's a really good distributor and playmaker of the puck. I didn't really see a lot of defensive upside in his game. So that's where you could argue like a Desnoyers has more value than O'Brien. But I just love his playmaking. The puck is always on his stick in everything that I saw. And yeah, he has really, really, really high offensive IQ to find those gaps to make quick plays.
He's a guy that's definitely like seeing the game at another level from the other players in juniors. You know, he's got, you can just tell with the IQ that he's got. He's playing really, really light, really lanky. He's not as small as Hagens is. I think he's 6'2", something like that. But he is as scrawny as can be. So if he puts on a little bit of strength, a little bit of muscle, I think that could help him with those insides. The one thing I have concerns about players like this is like those gaps that you can find in juniors, you can't always find those at the NHL level. Guys are faster, guys are bigger, guys are more skilled, right? So, there's always a developmental risk there. But, I mean, in terms of the ceiling, O'Brien has a sky-high ceiling for sure. Could easily be that play driver on a top line, I would say, as a ceiling. In terms of fit for Seattle, I don't love the fit. I mean, we'll get to Radim Murtka in a second, but I really liked that. I really liked that fit. But I mean, they do need top end forwards, right? That is something that Seattle is missing, and this is a potentially top end forward. So I think his developmental path is going to be a little bit longer than some of the other players in this draft. So we'll see how it goes. But I mean, Seattle's not winning anytime soon, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the fit is definitely odd, unless he does play winger, because you have Beniers and Wright is kind of broke out last season as being, who everybody kind of thought he would be going into the draft, or closer to it at least. And they've got Chandler Stevenson signed forever, for better or worse. And then they have Berkeley Catton, who's like their top prospect, also a center.
Yeah.
And then Carson Rakoff also has been very good in juniors. He's a center or winger. I assume he'll play wing, just because they gotta have somebody play wing on this team.
Yes, someone's gonna have to move over. So yeah.
So that's just the weird thing with O'Brien. Like, is he gonna play wing as well? Just like another center.
Yeah.
This team has all centers.
You can't go wrong drafting centers to play wing though. A lot of those guys. A lot of best wingers played center in junior, right? But yeah. I mean that's a good point. I don't know. So we can move on to Murtka now, because that was who I thought would have been a great pick on Seattle. Just a massive right-handed defenseman. One of the best skaters I've seen for somebody his size in juniors. I mean, like the kid can move. He's not quite as physical as you'd probably want for a player of his size, but has good defensive instincts, has a great shot. I think he to me was pretty clearly the second best defenseman in this draft, and he's going to be a great fit. I didn't even mention, but he went to Buffalo. I think he's going to be awesome. I think that's a great fit too, honestly, for Buffalo. I think they're going to be ecstatic to have him, because they can only draft left-handed defensemen. And so now they finally drafted a right-handed defenseman in the first round. And so I really see it. I think he's a guy, I don't think he's I don't think he has the potential to be as high level of a distributor or anything like that, or like a PP1 quarterback or anything like that, to where he's like that guy on defense. But I think he could be on a top pairing. I think he'd be extremely good on a second pairing. I think he's one of those guys that is just going to be like really good in your system and going to be really really good hold of it. Like right-handed defensemen are so hard to find, like good ones, and I think he's I think he's going to be good.
So I actually feel almost opposite on Merca. I had him at 19 in my big board. And, like, to me, if you made him 6'2" and a left-handed defenseman, he'd be way down the board, in my opinion. Like, he is purely who he is because of where he's getting drafted, because he has, like, those numbers next and letters next to his name on these draft boards. I saw a guy who's very passive. He is a good skater. Not like amazing. He's not Schaefer.
But Schaefer's not 6'6".
It's true. He's not 6'6". Schaefer's 6'2". And I just don't see a guy who is going to kind of dominate play. He'll probably be a nice second pair defenseman. Mm-hmm. Maybe he can be a Lyubushkin on Toronto, where he's playing above his pay grade and playing first pair, playing 23 minutes a night. He is a good fit on Buffalo, absolutely, because he doesn't need to be what you would expect of a number 9 pick.
There are going to be 3 or 4 defensemen on the Buffalo roster that are going to be better than him, and that's where you want to be. But I don't know, I don't know. I value like that, like really solid second pairing defenseman pretty highly, and especially on the right side when that's a much harder hole to fill. So to me, there's a lot of value there. Certainly as much value as a guy like Martin or Desnoyers. I don't think he's as good as those players, obviously. But when we talked about like the ceiling that's required to be able to be drafted like this early, I think he's got that kind of ceiling,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And like he has a crazy ceiling. Mm-hmm. Like if he just for some reason developed a great shot and started throwing the body around like crazy and started picking off forwards with his cheating long stick, and also became a great puck handler, like he would suddenly be like amazing. But that's asking a lot.
He doesn't need all of those to be a good pick, though, right? Like he already has a pretty solid shot. He already has pretty decent defensive instincts, I would say. If he could be a little bit more proactive or a little bit more physical, right? If he could add that to his game, that would be something that would increase the value a lot.
Yeah.
But I mean, you don't need everything to be a success when you're 6'6". When you're 6'6" and as good of a skater as he is, right? A guy that can move around, that can make up for stuff with his extreme reach and his extreme speed for that size,
Yeah, I mean, there's a guy we'll talk about in a little bit. I don't want to spoil it, but like if you put that guy's game into Merca's body, I mean, holy, we're talking about a top 5 pick.
I mean, there's a lot of guys in this draft that if you put into Merca's body, they'd be the number 1 pick. So.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like, you put Schaefer into Merca's body, then it's like, is this guy better than McCarr? Like,
for sure.
It's just like I just want Merca to just.
Yeah.
It feels like he has all the physical traits, and it's just like I want to see that convert into more dominance at a level where you're going against a lot of guys who I don't know if anybody he played against had his body. So it's like I just felt like he wasn't as dominant as I'd really want someone like him to be. It's kind of like where I was. So I was like, will he suddenly learn how to be dominant at a level where suddenly there are more guys who are in the 6'3", 6'4" range that he's playing around? Maybe. He definitely has the floor to build on. But yeah, I just feel like I just wanted him to be more.
Sure.
It's like you get like this really great looking car, and then you get in and it's just not as fast as you would want it to be, and the maybe like the speaker system isn't as nice, and it's just like everything looks good, but I just felt like I wanted more out of him.
Well, speaking of big players that you hated and I didn't,
yes,
move on to Roger
go on to
McQueen.
Roger McQueen taking 10th by the Anaheim Ducks. I had him at 20, so another 10 spot gap. Him and Mertka.
You just hate big boys.
I do like McQueen. Like, I do like him as a player. Like, he is a decent goal scorer. He is not like a great shot. He gets a lot of his goals just from being more physical and just a good offensive read and being in a good spot. But, like, I just never saw a time where, like, I felt like McQueen is the reason the goal was scored, Like, I felt like he's finishing plays. He's a play finisher. If you put him on a third line or fourth line with like some plugs, you put him on a third or fourth line with some plugs, some defensive guys who don't really have offensive instincts, like, I don't know that he'll be able to score those goals. But you put him on like a top six line with some very talented players. You put him with like a Jake O'Brien, who is a very good distributor and can find him, or James Higgins. And suddenly now we're talking about, a guy who could score 20, 25, maybe even 30. So I feel like he's very dependent on his team and on his line and the situation he's going to go into, which a lot of guys are. But I feel like he is much more dependent.
Yeah, he's not really a play driver, but again, for me, I actually love this pick for Anaheim first and foremost, like as a landing spot. They don't need any more of those guys that are like play drivers. They've got a ton of talent there already. So like picking up a guy like McQueen that they could potentially get some value out of as like a pure goal scorer on a wing, I think that's an awesome pick for him. I also think like they're kind of set in terms of like what their core forwards are going to be going forward. So if he works out, like they're going to be fantastic. But if the injury issues that caused him to drop a little bit, or the inconsistencies that he has, just from not being quite as not being quite as polished, and as play driving, Anaheim's still going to be okay, But I think again, this is a guy that is really big and has a lot of skill. And is a really good skater for his size. Again, this is a guy that you look at the skating and it's already NHL level, and he's massive, right? And so the fact that he has the ability to finish those plays and stuff like that, I think is really good. It's not the highest ceiling player, not the kind of player you want to build your draft around or your draft strategy around, but like as this like complementary piece that Anaheim gets to pick up here, I think he's a good fit for him. So,
and I think, to either his credit or to his fault, I think pretty much any pick that Anaheim made here is a good pick. Like,
sure,
they kind of need nothing, and also kind of need everything.
Yeah,
like they have like their core ready, so you kind of just slot in a guy anywhere on their lineup. Maybe not left D. They're pretty lined up at left D.
They got too many of those guys.
But like, could you throw another center on this team? Sure. Some people say they did. I think he's a winger at the NHL level. But I saw a lot of people had him listed as a C. So could they have drafted any of the C's that were left? Sure. Could they have drafted any of the wingers? Right D? Would they have loved Mertka if he fell to him? Probably.
I imagine they would have taken Mertka if he had fallen past Buffalo.
It's like, I think, to his credit, like, it's a luxury pick, so he will have those opportunities if he, is able to stay healthy, and if he's able to progress maybe a little bit on his play driving, he'll have those opportunities to play with, a Leo Carlson, a Cutter Gauthier, maybe a Mason McTavish, depending on what's going on.
Him on that Gauthier Carlson line would be kind of gross.
Yeah.
Like, Carlson's such a great play driver, right? If McQueen works out, he's got Gauthier, an elite goal scorer, potentially on the left side, and he'll have McQueen, a great goal scorer, there on the right side. So really see the potential there for
Beckett Sinecki's coming up. they might still have Granlund when he gets there. Troy Terry's still going to be there, so there's definitely an opportunity for him to be fantastic. I just feel like there's maybe guys who are going to contribute more to the core of your team than a McLean will.
Not every team could have made this pick at 10. But no. I think Anaheim. I think for Anaheim, it's a great pick. You know. Mm-hmm.
Although I do think they passed on some other good wingers.
I mean, yes, for sure. But for sure, we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
But now we get to talk about Ben Kendall, the Pittsburgh pick at 11. So a bit of a reach. From what the draft boards projected, but I've watched a lot of Ben Kendall, and I think this kid is an extremely talented hockey player. He is, up there in that Jake O'Brien, James Hagen's tier of like playmaker and like high IQ offensive player in my mind. And he's got a bit of a two-way game as well. To him, so a good forechecker. I noticed that some people talked about him as like a wing. Now this guy is a center for sure at the NHL level. He played his best hockey as a center this year in juniors, centering a line with Tanner Howe, another Penguins prospect. So that was pretty fun, and probably why he was picked up. But why he was looked at least. But yeah, I love Ben Kendall. I think he's just got that. He's got the brain that you could just put into an NHLer's body, and he could just go. He would be an elite play driver, top 6 center for sure at that thing. The problem is that he's 5'11", and he's not a fantastic skater.
He's not in an NHLer's body.
He's not in an NHLer's body. So yeah, he. And like I was mentioning before with Hagens, right? There are these guys that can play above their size, right? Because they have those elite skills, the shiftiness, the speed, or the physicality, right? I don't think Ben Kendall has shown any of those things yet. So we'll hope that the Penguins development staff can do a little bit of help with him there. Maybe he can bulk up a little bit too. But in terms of like the brain and the skill and everything like that, God, is he a really, really exciting hockey player to watch?
Yeah, I had him at 15 on my board, so not that much of a reach. It was definitely a surprise because I think maybe I was a bit higher than a lot of people were. I think a lot of people had him in like the 19 to 22-ish range.
Yeah.
But like for me, like 12 to 20, all these guys, there's not a lot separating them. And if you want to say, no, Kendall was definitely the 13th best player, like I'm not going to say, no, you're wrong.
Yeah.
If you think he's like a top 6 player, I'm like, okay, well, let's pump the brakes a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't think he's that good, but like,
he's pretty clearly a tier behind those top guys.
Yeah.
But I will say, for the Penguins, an organization that is like severely lacking in like any kind of top end talent, right? They're just now getting into this phase of the rebuild where they're getting good first round picks, right? Like where they're even having first round picks, right? So being able to pick up a guy like this who has just a tremendously high ceiling, even if the floor is a quadruple A, never makes the NHL player, like, I think that's those are the kind of shots that you kind of have to take sometimes, Yeah. And you can make arguments, that this was the guy to take the shot on, or that this pick was even the one to take the shot on, right? I could hear that, but I do like the player as a player in the pin system. So
yeah, I like that he has a two-way game. That's kind of my favorite part of him, is that especially with like a lot of the undersized guys, you don't see them have that two-way game, that they're kind of a all offense tweener that you're like, if you're going to be in the NHL, you better score 25 because, you're going to give up 40 the other way. So, you better be worth it on the offensive side. But I think he does have that two-way game to where his size isn't going to be as punished.
Yeah, I will say as a knock against him though is he looked a little lost in his own zone defensively. Most of that two-way game came off of being an excellent forechecker and a great neutral zone player. He's one of those guys that gets in passing lanes and makes turnovers like crazy. But when he's pinned in deep, he's not really offering too much. So
yeah, I also feel like he doesn't create his own offense as much. In that he's either creating for somebody else or finishing a play.
Yeah.
I don't see a lot of times where it's like he just beast modes, takes the puck, and says, "I'm scoring this goal."
Yeah, he just doesn't have the physical skills, I think, to do that, which is a big. He doesn't have the agility. He doesn't have the top end speed in order to do that. But from a playmaking and a distributing perspective, I think he's as good as anyone in this draft.
So moving on to number 12, it is Jack Nesbitt going to the Philadelphia Flyers, who traded up with the Pittsburgh Penguins, giving up picks 31 and 24, right?
It was 22 and 31.
22 and 31, yes. 22 and 31. To their cross-state rivals, which... I guess maybe I'm slightly old school, but to me it's kind of crazy that you're making big trades with your rivals, but also rivalries kind of seem to be dead in sports outside of like the fandom. Like it's across all sports. It seems like there's a lot less like organizational dislike. So maybe not that crazy. But Jack Nesbitt, the player that we're talking about, I had him at 18 on my board. He is a pure center, so I think that is a good fit for this team.
Woo!
Because they need talent down the middle.
They do.
And to me, he is a 3C peak. His absolute dream is 3C. Maybe a 4C in this league. He is a defensive anchor at center. Maybe the best pure defensive forward in this draft. He has no shooting talent. Like he will not shoot 10 goals in the net in a season. He is good at tips.
And he's big too, so
he is big. So he's good at like getting in front of the net and picking up rebounds, tipping the puck. So he can score more than 10 goals, but I still think he will shoot 10 goals into the net.
Yeah.
There'll be a lot of garbage goals around the net. He has. To me, he has a ton of dog in his game. Physical guy, again, just a defensive anchor at center. He is a good forechecker, good on the boards, offensive and defensive zone. But yeah, he just has really like no shooting talent. So that kind of is what makes him this. Where I have him at 18 is that there's some two-way guys that I'd rather have than him. But I mean, if you want a guy who's going to go out there and be like your number one penalty kill, who's going to be a shutdown 3C, maybe a 4C, he's a really good option. I think 12 is pretty high for him. And I think Philadelphia has a lot of holes that they could have taken.
Yeah.
A guy with some more upside, like a Coots maybe, or a Bear.
We've taken two. The Philadelphia Flyers have taken two picks now in the top 12, and neither of them are a top 6 center.
Yeah.
That's got to be at least like a little bit of a questionable pick, I think, for an organization that is so obvious in like what they're really lacking. Yeah. I mean, I liked Nesbitt as a defensive player, as a as a high motor player, right? All that stuff. I don't think that's the kind of guy that you take at 12 overall when you have this many things. We talked about Martin as being a guy that like you want to take when you're close, right? And he can potentially get you over to the edge. This is a guy you want to take when you're close, but he doesn't have that offensive upside that Martin does, where there's no world in which Nesbitt is sniffing Sam. Like he's not drawing the Bennett comparisons at all, right? Because the offensive talent just isn't there. Like maybe he can work with some development guys because he has the frame, he has the strength, he has the courage to be able to play more net front, and maybe they can coach more of that into him so that he can be more of a potential threat there. But just in terms of his raw playmaking and shooting talent, I mean, he's not there. That being said, quick path to the NHL for sure. Gonna be a contributor, gonna make the NHL, right? Like this guy is your fourth line plug dream at the minimum, right?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. He is going to get NHL minutes. He'll probably be an NHLer for as long as his skating is reasonable.
Is he Noel Acciari? You don't want to draft
Noel
Acciari 12.
Is he David Camp? That's kind of tragic taking one of those guys.
Yeah.
But could he be what's the guy in LA, the French Danault? He's probably not as offensive as Danault, but you could get somebody who maybe is close. So yeah, I think he is definitely a luxury pick on a team that isn't in a luxury pick setting, to where I think you just pick talent, which is why I kind of feel almost opposite of Martone, where it's you didn't really need Martone, but you also just need talent. So take Martone, because he's the most talented option you have on the board. Whereas Nesbitt's you can need talent. Nesbitt might be one of the least talented options on the board, so you trade up and give away an extra.
Right, and
first round pick.
Would he still have been there at 22? Come on, would he have been there? I think he would have. I think he would. There's
apparently, and this is from our cut reports and rumors segment that I'll try to bring back next week. I saw one that the Detroit was really high on Nesbitt.
Oh, really?
It might have taken him at 13.
Okay. And that pick makes more sense for Detroit.
It does. Kind of, except Detroit also. Yeah, no, Detroit does need some PK and some defense help. So yeah.
Well, I mean, they're wanting to get rid of some of their PK and defense help. So.
Yeah.
Right. They're looking for a cheaper, more long term option than the not great contracts that they currently have. So.
Yeah, but then also is it such a priority that you need to trade up? To Detroit's gonna get Nesbitt. We can't let that happen. We got to get Nesbitt. I think you could have let the board develop and say we're gonna lose Nesbitt, but we'll find another Nesbitt.
And again, this is the kind of guy you want to sign in free agency in 7 years, and not the kind of guy that he's gonna get passed around to a couple teams, I'm sure.
Yeah, he will definitely not be a career one teamer.
Yeah. But we can move on to who Detroit did take, which is Carter Bear. I think that the Flyers saved them from themselves if they were going to take Nesbitt, because I love Carter Bear. I think he's got a fantastic compete. I think he's a really voracious forechecker. Yep. He's got a good shot. He's got super duper high energy. I think he's probably a middle six winger, which isn't the highest ceiling player you could have taken with this position. There are definitely better players than him that were taken afterwards, right? But for a fit in Detroit's system, I think you could make a case here, and I think his skating is a little lackluster, like a lot of other people, so I think he'll have to pick that up a little bit. But I mean, this is the kind of guy that could be someone you fall in love with over the course of a playoff run. I think he's got that kind of energy in him,
I think this is the Sam Bennett comp.
You think this is the Sam Bennett?
I think he is a winger, so he's not like a 2C like Sam Bennett. But if you want to talk about a guy that has a ton of dog, a high effort forward that just like Bennett, he's not blowing goalies away with shots left, right, and center. He's not Sam Reinhart. But he just has a magnet for the puck. The puck just ends up on Sam Bennett's stick in good situations.
Yeah.
Which is, partially luck, a lot of good offensive instincts. And I think Carter Bear has that. So where he's not a great play driver. He's not, going to dominate possession. But the puck's going to end up on his stick in good positions. He's a good puck battler. He scores a ton of rebounds. Good around the net.
Yeah.
He is feisty. He has that dog. You know, he'll battle with anybody. He's not even the biggest guy. Kind of, I guess, similar to Bennett. It's not that Bennett's small, but Bennett's not, this massive hulking guy. Carter Bear's sitting at 6 foot even. Yeah, he is that high effort guy. I think it makes sense for Detroit.
Yeah, they're in a position closer. Where they could draft luxury for sure, right? They've got their offensive core, like they know who they're built around. They've got a great to spoil a little bit, I think the picks that you could have made instead of this are probably defensemen, and their blue line and their blue line prospects look pretty set. Yeah. So, Yeah,
I think it's a great pick for Detroit. I like Carter Bear a lot. I think a lot of people like him a lot more than I do. I have him at 14. I saw a lot of thoughts that he was like maybe a top 10-ish. I was like, that's where I think like the Florida effect was maybe boosting Carter Bear in some people's mind. I think he's a great player.
I think 15 to 20 would have been a good spot for him, and the fact that he went a little bit earlier is because of this good fit, and I think that's a fine thing to do.
And I think he could be a center. I think he isn't. I think he's more suited to wing, but I think he has center in his game. But I don't think
we'll see.
He goes there.
You might want him on the wing just to unleash his craziness a little bit more.
Yeah.
Could be a little more crazed and high energy on the wing than you can at center.
So next up is number 14, Jackson Smith to the Columbus Blue Jackets. I love this pick for them. I had Jackson Smith as a top 10 player. I had him at 9. And he is...
I had him at 6 at one point. Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, I love Smith. He definitely fell a little bit in some kind of rejigging right before the draft. 2.9, but I think he's great. He is elite in transition, and his skating is very good. He's a very good puck mover. He plays very similar to some of these other guys, defensemen we'll talk about towards the end of the first round, in that he's just a good puck mover in transition and doesn't have like a ton of the other stuff.
He's got no elite dog. He's got no it factor, but by God, does he have everything else?
Yeah, exactly. Like he doesn't have the physicality at all. And I don't know how good he is defensively. He also doesn't have like a great scoring instinct.
Right.
But like he's the guy that I want to have the puck between the dots, between the face-off circles. I want Jackson Smith to have the puck more than just about anybody else in this draft after Shape.
Yeah, you just trust it on his stick because he makes solid decisions, but I mean really it's just those good the good skills that he has, the great skating, the good passing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love this pick for him.
Yeah, he's really nice. I'm not sure how he's going to fit on their blue line because it's kind of stacked, but it's also kind of old. And as a left-hand defenseman, they have Matejchuk, they have Werenski, so we'll see how he fits. I think he also isn't going to be in the NHL quickly.
Yeah.
He might be, but I think he is a guy who could benefit from some development, and maybe adding a bit more physicality to his game. He's 6'3", he's 6'3", 190, so he's not small. He's bigger than Schaefer, but he plays a little smaller than even a Schaefer does, who doesn't play huge. So it'd be interesting to see how he kind of just develops that part of his game.
I think this is a draft steal, though, for sure. I think they're going to be really pleased with them, and I think there's a lot of teams that took players above this that would have probably been pretty happy taking a Jackson Smith. So but we can talk about Braden Coots now. Went to Vancouver.
At 15.
At 15. I really like this pick for Vancouver. I think they clearly need some center talent, and I Braden Coots is one of my favorite centers in this draft. Like in this range, you know, outside of those top guys. I mean, I think he probably, you know, he doesn't project as like a actual 1C. You know, he doesn't have the ceiling that some of these other guys do. But like as a middle six center, I think he's got basically everything that you would want. I think he's got enough dog in him to, you know, really like get in there, be physical. He's got really high IQ. He's got really good playmaking. You know, his two-way game is phenomenal. I think he is one of the most reliable centers, I think, in his own zone out of the players that have his level of offensive potential. And so I think that's a really valuable skill to have. I don't know what Vancouver could have taken here that would have felt much better than Coots. There's some high-end talent that I think maybe could have slipped here. Like, you know, maybe Eklund, who got taken next, maybe would have been a better pick. But, like, I really like Braden Coots. I think this is right about where I would put him. So,
yeah, I had him at 13. So he's right about where I had him, too. Yeah, he's a great skater and great at zone entries. He's a good distributor, good puck handler. His shot's not amazing, but it's fine. It's passable. It could definitely develop into a great shot. There's definitely the floor there for it. I'm surprised like, I know I had him at 13, so like taking him at 15 is not like, oh wow, he dropped. But like, when I looked at the board where Pittsburgh was picking at 11, I was like, I don't know, Coots makes the most sense to me.
He could have been a pick
as
there
a center
for sure.
And then
you always see centers go higher than like they're projected sometimes. Like you'll see non-centers drop and stuff like that. And he was like one of those players that I thought was like primed to get picked up a little earlier if someone really liked him. But, you know, he ended up falling a little bit. But I think this is a great value for Vancouver.
And then like I thought Philly, you know, it's like, okay, Philly, they need a center. Here's a guy with talent, you know, great skater, great zone entry distributor. Like that's all great to play with Mishkov, who's like a phenomenal finisher.
If they had traded up for Coots instead of Nesbitt, I think I would have thought that was a fantastic decision.
Oh,
right,
100%.
like that would have been like a absolute game changer in the draft for sure. He's the kind of player that they needed. So,
so yeah, I was surprised he fell past both the Pennsylvania teams. I figured one of them would take him. I definitely think he could have been picked at 13 or sorry at 12 if Pittsburgh didn't trade that pick, if they picked back to back. Not any slight against the players we'll talk about in a little bit because I love one of the picks they grabbed. But yeah, I think Coots is great. I think he's going to be a very good fit in Vancouver. They absolutely need the center help.
Yep, they do. Yeah, it was a good fit there. The other player they could have taken, who we can talk about next, is Victor Eklund, who I was so high on before. I had Eklund at, I think, 8 on my board, the highest winger. I absolutely love this guy's game. I mean, he's small, which is a knock against it, but I think he's a guy that has already shown the ability to play higher than his to play bigger than he is. Like he is fast and agile. He is voracious on the forecheck. He has got that dog in him for sure. And he's got some physicality too. I mean, he was playing in the men's league, right? And he was at 5'10" or whatever it is. He's not a big guy, and he was throwing hits out there. Like he's out there throwing hits, maybe more than some of the other guys that are have the better tools than he does. So I think he's fantastic. I think he's a play driver, like legitimate play driver, could be the best player on his line in a top 6 line, and you'd be happy with that. He's got some work to do just on his frame, his strength and stuff like that to actually get to an NHL level. But I mean, I don't know. I think this is an amazing pick. I think they're getting huge value here.
I think he's maybe the best puck handler in the draft of just like pure stick handling. Like, he was just lightning fast. Like, he was doing stick handling drills through defense in Sweden, through men out there. Like, super shifty. Also, just a lightning release on his shot.
there's probably not a scarier player on a breakaway from a goalie's perspective than him in this draft.
Yeah, 100%.
Maybe Michael Misa, but he got taken second, right?
Yeah.
So like that's the level of skill that we're talking.
Yeah, he gets that thing off so quick. You give him the puck in the offensive zone, he'll make 3 little stick handling moves right past one defenseman and just like rip a shot in a blink. Also, I saw a lot of shots of him tipping shots and also tipping from like out in the slot, like distance tips. I had him at 10. Like I had him at 7 through a lot of it, and then kind of rethought it a little bit, and he landed at 10. I'm surprised he dropped as far as he did. I know he is a pure winger, which is punishable in the draft apparently.
But he wasn't even the. I don't know. To me, he was the best pure winger that has no potential to play center. In this draft.
So. Well, second behind Martin.
Yes, sorry. Yes, second.
Second, but yeah, I think he is clearly the best pick for a few picks here.
Yeah.
And I can't believe he fell to 16. Apparently, like his interviews weren't great, but that's all rumors, so I don't know whether that's true or not.
Plus, he's Swedish, man. I don't know. Like like how much can you really get out of those interviews?
But also, like his brother is an NHLer.
Yep.
So like, ideally, right? He is learning from William and like what it's like to, be an NHLer and what you have to work on stuff. So ideally he's like picking things up and picking up on what's expected. So it's kind of like that NHL bloodlines that, maybe a guy to allude to later, Horkoff, hopefully benefited from.
We'll see.
But yeah, I mean, Eklund, he's just a supreme talent.
Yeah. I mean, I wanted him on the Penguins. At 11, I thought when before after the lottery and when it was like, oh, we're 11-12, I was like, I'll let them pick whichever other thing they want, but if they get Eklund in that 11-12, like, oh, I'm gonna be ecstatic. I'm gonna love to see him. So that he fell this far is, I think, a little bit crazy. I think the Islanders got away with a little bit of murder here. I think this is a fantastic pick.
Yeah, and we'll talk about the Islanders Hall in just a minute because they picked back-to-back 16 and 17. At 17, they took Keishon Aitchison. This is one of my favorite players in the draft, above like what everybody else thought of the guy. I had him at 8. I know Scouching was also really high on him. I know they had him like they thought he could be like possibly 5, but like in that top 10. And this is the guy that I was talking about when I was talking about Merca earlier. Like he is everything you want Merca to be.
Yeah.
He's got a huge shot, big hits, like, and he's 6'2", I think. He's listed at 6'1", 198 on Tankathon. I think I saw 6'2" as like the consensus size for him. He is not big, like he's not small, but he's not like a big guy. He plays massive though. He is everything that I wish Merca was. And if you put Keishon Aitchison's game in Merca's body, we're talking about a top 3 pick. His biggest issue is his skating. I did see him fall down multiple times. But he has good playmaking. He is, and this can be seen as a negative to some people, but like he will take the puck and he will go down into their corner. And he'll play the full sheet of ice, which can be a bit of a risk at times, especially if you have less than ideal skating. But he has that confidence. He'll go down, and like if he's the next man up in transition, and like there's a defenseman and 2 forwards behind his own red line board battling, and he's net front, and the puck comes out, like he will just rush off on that rush with them. And he also has a ton of dog. Like he will get nasty, which there's not a lot.
Half of the highlights I saw were fights.
Yeah, he is also he will throw down the gloves.
He'll throw down the gloves at any opportunity he has.
I don't put a lot of stock in that. Because maybe also this guy's just built for like 90s 2000s hockey. Like this guy's a monster of a pick.
I mean,
he's going top 3 in the 90s.
Oh, for sure, right? I mean, he hits he hits obscenely well. He fights. He has an amazing shot. I like a bomb of a shot. One of the better shots of the defensemen in this draft for sure. So I think the question here is going to be the is going to be the skating and a little bit of the decision making, if you can rein him in a little bit. But I mean, in terms of what he's shown, oh man, he's a great player. So
yeah, and like he stands out from all these other guys who are just like good transition defensemen. It's like there's the guys that I want to have the puck kind of between the dots.
Yeah,
I'm down with Aitchison having the puck anywhere.
Right. I mean, he's a guy you could see his ceiling being like an elite power play 1 QB, right? Like he's got the shot in him, he's got the vision, he's got the all that stuff in him. He could do that. He could rein it in a little bit, and he could be with the physicality and stuff like that. He could potentially even penalty kill if you really wanted that kind of stuff
if
there.
He's
but
not
I mean,
the one in the box,
right? If he's not the one in the box, but like I don't know. I think he's a player you want on your team. I think he's a player you don't want on the enemy team.
No, you do not want to go against Aitchison.
You don't want to play against Keishon Aitchison. So
I can't believe he fell to 17.
Yeah, I agree. I thought with we talked about Florida Panthers hockey. I mean I'm not going to say he's like the perfect mold for a Florida Panthers guy, but I mean like. This is the kind of player that I think is the that difference maker. So
yeah,
it was interesting to see him fall.
And I know you are not a huge fan of this, but he is a lefty that played a lot of right D.
Yeah.
In juniors, I know you like your right D to be right-handed, but in a league where there is a shortage of right-handed defensemen, like if you're going to convert a guy from left D to right D,
that's true.
He's already done most of the work for you. in the conversion process, he's already very comfortable on it. You don't have to he's not going to be somewhere you're like, well, I hope you can pick it up, bud. Good luck.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But I do think that bodes well for his potential as a power play quarterback, right? The comfortability on that side. So yeah, I don't know. I think God, it's crazy. We can shift into talking about the Islanders haul here because this is their last pick in the first round, right? I mean, they got Schaefer and Aitchison, right, as two left-handed defensemen that I think are, two of the. I mean, obviously Schaefer is an insanely good pickup, right? But I mean, Aitchison is one of the best defensemen in this draft. And the fact that they were able to pick him up too, and then Eklund, another pick that obviously both of us loved. As I think they didn't get a center.
Nope.
They don't need a center. They're in kind of a weird spot as an organization.
Yeah.
And we'll see how they fill in all of their stuff, right? But I mean, this is quite a good haul, and you think about too, because you got to factor Noah Dobson into this, right? Because it was the Noah Dobson trade that got them the 16th and 17th pick, and when you think about losing Noah Dobson and picking up Eklund and Aitchison for that, I mean that seems like there was some good value there since they picked up Schaefer earlier, right? Their replacement is like that top defenseman. So I mean, it seems like it worked out very well for them, I would say.
I mean, what if they drafted just pulling some names out, assuming Eklund and Aitchison were not on the board, they go like Nesbitt Reshny.
Yeah.
Like they're crying.
Yeah.
They're crying. They're like,
that is
man,
not getting the thing.
We did not get value. Which, not to say that either one of those players are bad. I like both those players, but like you're getting a 3C, a 4C, and Schaefer.
Yeah.
For Dobson, like I don't know.
Yeah, they ended up getting in my opinion, a bona fide top 6 winger, one of the best in the draft. And they got Aitchison, who I think is probably, not just on the Islanders, but on any team, probably just a second pairing defenseman with an offensive mind to him. But like I value those guys really highly, and I really like his game. I would have been before the draft because I'm a Pens fan. Was looking at picks 11 and 12. If the Pens had picked Eklund and Aitchison at 11 and 12, I think I would have been pretty happy. And the fact that the Islanders get them at 16 and 17 after drafting Schaefer at 1, I mean that is just a mind-bogglingly good draft for them.
Yeah, it's crazy. And like you've just ignoring their current roster. If you look, they have Yzerman, who is a very highly thought of projectable left winger. Cal Ritchie, who's a pretty well thought of center. Now Eklund at right wing, Schaefer at left D, Aitchison at right D. Like they could have drafted like a first line.
Yeah, those are
plus
all
adding
the
Ritchie and Yzerman. That could be your core right there.
Yeah, Ritchie was the deadline acquisition, and Yzerman was their first round
last year.
Yeah, first round last year. So I mean, yeah, that's
like in a span of a year. You might have added your entire core.
Yeah, potentially
if they all pan out, right?
Right. Yeah. There's obviously no guarantee there, but they've added the potential to have that stuff, and that's on top of a team that is they're bad, but they're not like you know what I mean. Like they moved up. With the draft lottery, like they they add these pieces a little bit at a time, right? And they're able to move them into the system, maybe get figure out their core identity and stuff like that. I mean, this is a team that could be very happy with the moves that they've made the last 2 years.
Yeah. And like, I mean, the bones of this team are here. Like you have Barzal, you have Horvat, you have Sorokin, who, they just said Sorokin is not available for trade whatsoever. She has a no movement clause anyway, but
right.
Like,
yeah, if they
Pulick,
line
Pellick,
up the timeline of these guys,
nice
with
defenseman,
the core they have, they're in great shot and in a great spot, right?
Yeah,
like all those guys are around in their 28 to 30 range. So in 2-3 years, when this group of guys are coming up, if they're if they're hits, you could be talking about a team that's pretty scary for a couple of years while they're rebuilding. So
yeah, and plus, like they probably aren't going to be good next year in another stack draft. So if you hit on another good pick in the first round, I mean,
probably won't be as high of a pick next.
Probably not,
but maybe so. I mean, they did lose Dobson, right? So
yeah. I think their NHL team will be a little bit worse.
Yeah.
Maybe some guys will rebound that had some down years like Barzal, but their team could stand to be a little bit worse. They could very well be picking in the top 5 or 6, 7, 8 in a draft that has very good talent in there.
For sure.
They might not get McKenna. They probably won't get McKenna. But they could still get another very good player to add to this core of young people.
It's you can't win 3 years in a row, right? The lottery. So they technically can't get McKenna, right?
You can't win 3 in 5 years.
Okay. Gotcha.
So they can win McKenna.
Yes, they can win McKenna. It is technically,
but just like the odds are just they're low to win.
I'm just saying never say never. I don't think anyone. I don't think anyone had them pegged as being the Schaefer winners here. So.
No, they moved up 9.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
And Utah moved up 10. So like I feel like we're probably in for like not something insane like that again next year. Our team's moving up huge, both spots. Maybe we will, but it's like odds are no. These are both like 1%er odds that this happened, and it did. So. But yeah, I think it's a great haul. Overall for this team.
They are ecstatic. All right, let's talk about Kolereshi. For Calgary at 18.
Yep.
So I think that this is actually a pretty good pick for Calgary. I think he's probably the highest ceiling center of the picks here, and even maybe out of some of the ones that were picked above him. I think he legitimately has the potential to be like a a second line center probably. You know, like he's got a pretty high ceiling here. A little undersized, but I liked his hockey IQ. I liked his playmaking. I think he's the kind of guy that when you're Calgary and you know. Talked about Philly needing centers. Calgary might be even worse off than Philly in terms of looking for their centers of the future, right? This is a guy that I could see, you know, working out for them. This is it's a lottery pick, right? You know, like he's, you know, you have no idea what you're getting here, but I think he's a guy that's worth betting on. I mean, he showed a lot of potential. I think a lot of flashes of brilliance.
So I had him at 22. I slightly disagree in him being like a lottery pick, maybe a 2C. Like I think he's kind of locked in. It's just like this is a good defensive 3C who's a PK expert, who's great at making plays in his own zone, and he has good playmaking. I think he's going to struggle to score, kind of similar to Nesbitt.
Maybe so.
But like I think he also could be a guy who sneakily will have like 35 or 40 assists in a year. You put him on a third line with maybe a questionable defensive effort winger. I think Reshny is like a pure center.
Yeah, for sure.
And you put him like a questionable winger, like maybe a
Matt Coronado,
or like maybe like a Dodonov type. Like not like current Dodonov, but like prime Dodonov.
I know what you mean. Uh-huh.
You know, the guy that you're like, he's a really great scorer and he's really good on the power play, but like we kind of also don't want him to play 24 minutes a night.
Yeah.
So we kind of need to hide him 5v5, and this is like the guy you hide him next to.
Yeah.
He can make up for it defensively, and his good playmaking can, you know, set him up.
I think I was a little higher on his playmaking than you. I think he does have the potential to reach another level, and he's got the physical tools for it, I think, too. So, but you're right. If all he is though for you is like a really good defensive center, I think he's also still a pretty solid pick here, right? Because you just need what you can get.
Yeah, I think he's like a perfect 3C. Maybe not perfect. Maybe one of a slightly bigger, but like as far as like what he brings to the table, he's pretty close to a perfect 3C, especially if he can develop any kind of goal scoring.
Right.
Yeah, I like him a lot.
We can move on to Justin Carbonneau for St. Louis. This guy is weird. I watched a lot of tape on Justin Carbonneau because I thought he was I thought he had the skill to be taken in the top 15, like where the Penguins were picking, right? He's got a great shot. He's a good skater. He's got, good puck handling and stuff like that. He is, he has like Superman syndrome, I think. Like he was a guy that like just didn't seem like he was making the right play most of the time. He was trying to take things and it was thinking he was playing too hard for himself. I don't want to say he was selfish, but like I think he's I don't know. He's just it didn't seem like he trusted his teammates as much as some of the other players, you know. And so I wonder if that kind of thing gets remedied when you come to higher level play, like in the AHL, when like he'll be playing with more competent and stuff like that. Because is he in the queue? I think he was in the queue, right?
He was in the queue.
So not the best quality of both teammates and of opponents, right? But I wonder if like when you go to that higher level, if he's the kind of player that's gonna like be able to like let go and kind of play and be coached and like do that kind of thing. Because I think he could be, right. If he is playing with good players, like he's got the tools to complement them to excel as a goal scorer, to excel as a playmaker, all that kind of thing, right? But there's also the chance that he just doesn't get that, and he just becomes the kind of tweener that is just playing for himself. Never really gets it as a hockey player. So
yeah, he's like, because when I originally watched him, I liked him a lot. I had him at 15, And then when preparing some notes and refreshing myself on these players, I kind of fell a little bit less on him and have him drop to 17. He's kind of just like a jack of all trades player. Like everything about him is like good, which like I guess at first I was like, okay, yeah, there's lots to like. He's got good hands. He's a good playmaker. He's got some dog in him.
Yeah.
He has a great shot when he decides to use it. But then he also kind of isn't great at anything and kind of falls into the background and is not like the best player on a kind of mad team in the queue. So he's so hard to predict. It's like he has everything to where he could be a good NHL player, but it feels like it just didn't all click. So like because of his tools, I have him at 17. I think he could be a very good winger in this league. But like if future me comes by in like 7 years and is like, yeah, Carbonneau never pans out, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess that makes sense.
If he never made the NHL, I would not be surprised.
Yeah.
But also, if he became
if he's like a good middle six winger, I would also not be surprised. I'd be like, okay, he was able to figure it out, So, yeah, I mean, he's got great gifts. I think there's a little bit of he just tries to do a little bit too much. Yeah.
For what I saw. So, we'll see how that works out for him. So
also, I really wanted him to end up in Montreal before the Dobson trade. Like, he just seemed like such a great fit in Montreal.
That I think that would have been a good fit. Yeah.
But moving on to pick number 20, it is Pyotr Andrianov, goaltender to Columbus. Way off the board. I saw a lot of consensus had him as like a late second, early third. But goalies are also voodoo, so it's really hard to predict with them. This is kind of my first pick where I'm like, I think this is bad. I think this is like actively bad. I'll disagree with some, but we're arguing about, a handful of placements. This is a guy that I don't think has first round talent. So the good about him is it's actually a decent amount of good. He seemed to be a great puck handler in the MHL, which is the third tier league in Russia, which is mostly junior. He is a great puck handler. I could see him scoring a goalie goal in juniors or the AHL or maybe even the NHL. Like, he's really nice at that. I like his positioning. He plays at the top of his crease a lot. And he also has a lightning fast glove, which he doesn't always utilize, but he has like a super fast glove. The biggest issue with him, which maybe he never is able to overcome it, he is 6'2".
Yeah.
Which, UC Saros is also small. I don't have UC Saros' height available. I'm not that weird. But he is also on like the really small end. But everything I watched Andrianov is that he just played small. When he's trying to find through traffic, he is like at the top of his pads. 5'10"? Yeah. Yeah, he is small. Quick is also not that big. I think Quick is in like the 6'1", 6'2" range. Jonathan Quick. And like Quick is a Hall of Famer. Saros probably not, but like in a world where Nashville's good, he could have been.
I mean, Saros is a guy who could win a cup.
Yeah, absolutely. Saros could win a cup if he was on these Nashville Predators.
These Nashville Predators.
Yeah, like if Bob retires after the season and Saros goes to Florida, like yeah, he's absolutely good enough to win a cup in Florida. So like being small is not necessarily a death knell. It's not great, but it's not a death knell. But he plays small. He is like his head's on the top of his pads when he's looking through traffic, and he just leaves so much net open. He really struggles with traffic. Anytime he drops to his knees, there's a ton of room upstairs. I think he could be coached out of that. And not out of being small, obviously. It is what he is. He can't coach size. But he could be coached into kind of not playing as small and how to look through traffic and how to find the shots like a Saros does. Because Saros does not look 5'10" when you watch him play. Like, oh my God, he's tiny, right?
Yeah.
But Andreanov is like, oh my God, this guy's tiny. And he's not even the tiniest of tiny guys. So
it's interesting. You're right, though.
He has some tools to be coached. So maybe. But
goalies are voodoo. Development, I think, at higher levels, right? At the AHL or the ECHL, right? When you have good goalie coaches and stuff like that, that's the kind of thing that that can help push those guys to the next level. So I mean, Columbus obviously saw something. Maybe it was that lightning fast glove. Maybe I don't know what it is. It's a
maybe
weird
it's the
pick.
puck handling, but yeah,
it's a weird pick for sure. I don't know.
I think it is a decent fit for Columbus, which that is their second and last pick of the round, so we can talk about their haul. Their goaltending situation is like dire. Tarasov ended up not panning out, and they traded him for peanuts to Florida.
Yeah, but how much is this guy going to actually help out, like, Columbus's current... Like, you know what I mean? Like, maybe...
He won't help out their current situation, but, like, they also don't have anything really of note in the system. Like, looking at their Puckpedia right now, they took Evan Gardner in the second round last year, and he is also 6'1".
That's crazy.
So like I don't know anything about him. Just like looking at size. Their current backup, Jet Greaves, who's shown the occasional flash, but actually he actually was kind of decent as a backup, a third stringer this year. He's 6 foot.
Okay, so they just like small goalkeepers.
Yeah, so they don't mind the small goalies. But yeah, there's just not a lot in the system. So like it makes sense to draft a goalie. I don't know why you wouldn't draft Ravensbergen, who we'll talk about later. He is kind of the consensus number one, and also consensus like first round guy in an era where like there's not first round goalies anymore. And like Andreanov probably could have been there. So yeah, a bit odd. And then as we said earlier with Jackson Smith, like really nice player. Not sure about the fit. In their system, but I think he's going to be a really good player for them.
It's interesting. I think that was a home run pick for Smith. I think that's a guy that was just so talented that you just want to take him.
Yeah.
At that spot, but yeah, this, Andreanov isn't. We'll see. I mean, either he's going to win a Vezina in 8 years and we're gonna all be kicking ourselves, or I don't know,
And I mean that's the other thing with drafting a goalie is like almost all these guys will see an NHL game before he will.
Yeah,
because like he is being a Russian goalie, he signed a 4-year deal or whatever, so he's not going to come out of Russia till like 22 unless they pay out his contract. And then is he going to be ready for the NHL right out of Russia? Probably not. So he's going to spend another year or two in the AHL. He could be 23, 24, 25 before he comes out. And like a lot of players around him, teams will have already formed an opinion on, their fit in their NHL roster. So
he could be a Mersh.
Kind of the risk of
come over a little earlier.
And like, I do kind of like him because of the puck handling and the really good glove and good positioning. But like, I'm just not taking a risk on that guy at 20.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But in the second round, which I haven't done a ton of second rounders, or maybe the third round, like when you're, really shooting in the dark, it's like, yeah, I'm down to take Andreanov. But at 20, it's just like I feel like you're not getting the value. There's other guys. like Cameron Reed at 21 to Nashville, defenseman, who also is a shot in the dark guy, by the way. I had him at 23, and I like Cameron Reed. High risk, high reward player, in my opinion. 85% of the tape looks like a tweener that probably won't stick in the NHL. But like 15% of his highlight was like Quinn Hughes level talent. Like just puck dominant, taking the puck end to end, making a great play, stick handling through multiple people. Like his highest peaks looked better than Schaefer's. Mm-hmm. But like a lot of it didn't look like that. And that's kind of the problem. He is 6 foot, which is small for a defenseman now. But there was no guy smaller than Cameron. Cameron, I think, was the smallest defenseman taken in this draft.
That's crazy.
Maybe somebody was a little lighter than him, but there's nobody under 6 foot on the defense that was taken in this draft. But like, I like the risk, especially when we're getting to this point, because at this point now, pretty much everybody has like a but flaw. Mm-hmm. We're kind of out of the, these are good guys who are what they are, which is a lot of what this draft is. Mm-hmm. And kind of, high floor, low ceiling guys. This is where we're getting into the guys that have lower floors, guys that decent odds of not making it. And Reed is that, but I mean, the ceiling's so high that I'm fine with taking him.
It's interesting. We still have one more Nashville pick to talk about after him, but just talking about Martin versus him are kind of like the opposite ends of the spectrum in my mind, because I love Reed as the second pick in a draft like that a team makes.
Yeah.
You already took your guy with your first pick, and this is like your really high ceiling. We're hoping that this works out. Maybe there's a 20% chance that he makes the NHL. Maybe there's a 5% chance that he's Quinn Hughes, But hey, there's a chance, right?
Right.
Like, so, an interesting player for sure.
It's interesting philosophy-wise for the draft. Mm-hmm. I'm interested in your thoughts. So, like, Nashville needs a lot of help, right? They're not a team that's like turning us around quick and competing for a cup.
Hey, don't tell them that.
Well, okay. Nashville, you're not competing for a cup. I'm sorry. There's too many holes.
Yeah.
So on one hand, you could say, in our drafts, we need to get guys who are going to contribute to the Nashville Predators, right? Because we need NHL talent. Or you could say we're going to take guys like Reed, who are maybes, but like big reward, right? Mm-hmm. And then on the other hand, you have a team like maybe Buffalo, right? Who they're on the cusp, right? They're trying to push into that spot,
right?
And it's like, would you rather take the crazy high end talent guy? Because if he misses, that's kind of fine because you don't need the crazy high end talent. Mm-hmm. So you can kind of take that risk if there is a bust. But also, they kind of want a floor guy. They kind of want a guy who's going to contribute quickly because they're trying to get there.
It's interesting. We talked about it a little bit earlier, too, like with the McQueen pick for Anaheim, right? That, like, the Anaheim are in a place where they can afford this, like, really high ceiling player, potential, right? Like, this risky player, right?
Yeah.
I would say, for McQueen, right? High risk, high reward. Because of where they are in their build, right? And then right before them, Mertka was taken by Buffalo, and they're in a similar spot, honestly, in terms of their build, right? Like they've got a lot of talent and stuff like that, and they went for Mertka, who I think is a little bit of a lower ceiling, but a much higher floor, right? So. Yeah. And I think it depends a little bit on roster construction, but another, I'm going to bring this back to the Penguins because we're about to talk about Bill Zonin, right? But their Penguins are in a similar spot to the Predators, right? Where they're not competing for a cup, they're bad, right? There's nothing, they desperately need talent in their system, right? And they went with Kindle at 11, which was their high risk, high reward pick, right? And then they followed that up with a lot of much lower picks, right? As opposed to Nashville, who went with Martin right at 5, which was their like, I guess, safe pick. I want to say for Martin, I guess, like this is a guy that's gonna make the Nashville Predators. He's gonna make them better, right? Mm-hmm. And then here's Reed at 21 with the with their sky high ceiling. So I don't know, how it's just a difference in GM philosophies and how players do and stuff like that. But you do need both, right? You need guys that have ceilings, because you can't just acquire. Nashville should know this firsthand. You can't just buy guys in free agency and expect them to do stuff, right? Like, you can't just pick up 35-year-old Steven Stamkos as your 1C and say that this is my team that's going to win, Stanley Cup, because, you really do in this day and age either need to draft or you need to like trade for when they're young so that you can lock up like these core pieces of your team. They kind of need to come from your scouting department, not from your wallet, right?
Yeah.
So that's you need those guys, but then you also need, because you can't just you need talent, right, in your system. You need guys.
It can't be Seattle. Mm-hmm. That is just like a whole bunch of really solid bottom 6
exactly
forwards.
Exactly. Yeah, you need these guys that can be high level role players, or they can be like, your 2Cs, your top 6 wingers, right? Like, those kind of guys are important too. So it's interesting to see how some of these different teams that are in similar positions, right, in their rebuilds have approached this draft. So, and that leads us perfectly into Bill Zonnett.
Yeah,
was taken by Pittsburgh at 22, who I love as a really, really high floor player. Like, you look at Bill Zonnett's game and you say, like, this is a guy that's going to translate to the NHL great. He is an okay skater, needs some work there, but he's very physical. He's got a lot of dog in him. He's got, good two-way presence. He's a good playmaker. I wish he'd shoot more.
Yeah,
I wish he'd shoot more. We'll see about that. But he's got the NHL size frame and stuff like that. Like, he is clearly a guy that is gonna be on the Penguins team. I wouldn't be surprised if he was on the Penguins team, in two years. Like, I could see it. So he's a pick that I really like. He also listed as a winger, much better center than winger. I definitely see him as a center. In the league, he can move to the wing. Maybe that's where the fit is, because he's not like he's not going to be on a first line, right? He's going to be like a middle six guy for sure. But like, he could be a second line winger who provides a little bit of size, a little bit of strength, a little bit of power forwardiness, or he could be a 3C who has some playmaking, some defensive responsibility and stuff like that. But I think either way, I think as a Pittsburgh Penguins fan, I'm ecstatic that this guy is in our system. I think he's going to be awesome to watch.
Yeah, I think they got a great pick here. I had him at 16. He's just all dog. He is all dog. He's a great net battler. He does have a good shot. Like, and he needs to utilize it a little bit more. Great in the defensive zone. Yeah, I think he's a super high floor guy. He looks like an NHLer.
He's the strongest player at the Combine.
Really?
Yes.
I did not see that. I don't put a lot of stock in the Combine.
I don't put any stock. I don't put any stock in the Combine. I don't even remember which measurement it was they were taking. I don't know if it was bench or whatever. But like he in one of those he's incredibly strong.
Yeah. I do see him as more winger than center, but I also see center in his game. But I think he played more center on his team. Or he played more winger on his team, so we'll see if he can transition to center. I think they want him to.
Yeah, they'd love for him to be the third line center of the future for sure, I think. But if he's a winger, like, so be it. I think his skill and like his game, his energy is still going to translate.
So the next up is number 23, Logan Hensler, right-handed defenseman, a guy that I'm not the highest on. I have him at 28 on my board. And this guy is discount Jackson Smith. He's great at defensive zone exits, moves the puck through the neutral zone, and I kind of want to see more of him, making plays defensively and maybe contributing on offense. Like, this is a guy I don't see getting any power play time in the NHL. I don't see any of that, but like, he is really great at moving the puck through the neutral zone.
He's right-handed, though.
He is right-handed, which bumps up his value. But like, Hensler's just not an exciting pick.
No, he's not an exciting player.
He's not a pick that if I'm a GM, I'm walking up like, oh yeah, I'm making the team. This team is going to get better now, right? But like, I think he could play in the NHL. I think he probably does play in the NHL. I think he has the floor to. But like, I also don't think he's going to be like an anchor of your blue line. I don't think.
No.
You're going to sit here and say, yeah, we got, like, for Ottawa, they're not going to sit here and say, oh, our blue line is so good. We got Sanderson, we got Shabbat, we got Hensler, right? Like, they're going to like, yeah, we got Sanderson, Shabbat, Spence, Yakimchuk, and then like Zub and Hensler like round that out nicely, right?
Yeah. It's an interesting pick for Ottawa. You bring up a good point, right? Because they have like already like a pretty solid blue line, right? They didn't really need this kind of like high floor player, I guess. Like just like a contributor. So it's an interesting pick for them. I think I would have liked to see them go with somebody with a little bit of a higher ceiling. Potentially, and again, Ottawa's in that same spot, right? That same kind of thing where they're trying to make the push, right? But it's like, do they really have the top end that they need in order to get over the hump, right? To become a contender, and I'm a little less sure about that with Ottawa than I am with like Anaheim, right? So,
But to their credit, like, I don't know who they pick at this point in the draft, where you're like, oh yeah, like, this guy's gonna put them over the edge.
Yeah. I mean, maybe.
Like, I don't think there's a lot of top six forwards here. There's some guys with like the ceiling and the potential.
There's
and you could take a risk.
Like a Lakovic,
Lakovic.
I don't know, there's a Lakovic
I've been
here.
trying to not talk about Lakovic at every pick.
Yeah.
But like,
I mean,
yeah,
I don't think you can talk about
that is
every pick, but here I think that would have been a much better pick.
Yeah.
Hensler to me is like, you talked about it, like with him being like discount Jackson Smith. Like, there's a lot of defensemen in this draft, and also like just in hockey in general, it seems like, coming out of juniors that are like, they're like pretty big, they're pretty good skaters, they're pretty good puck movers, right? And they're pretty safe, right? And they're like these guys, and you're just like hoping that they can develop some kind of like elite thing to like really make them make an impact at the NHL level. And taking one of them here at 23 when there are some of the other picks on the board, I think is it's a little bit interesting. It's a little bit of a miss, I would say.
They did luck out though, because they did spend a third round pick in this draft on Jordan Spence.
That's true.
Who was just like objectively great value.
Yeah. If they took Hensler with their third round pick and they took Spence with their first round pick, then now we're talking.
Yeah. So, I think there's drafts where Hensler is not a first round pick.
Yeah.
Like, I think next year Hensler would not. Well, I mean, obviously, keeping the same age, he would not be a first round pick next year. Probably.
Yeah. He'd probably be a mid second rounder for sure.
Yeah.
I think, just based off of like that lack of any kind of real like elite level to his game,
Yeah.
There's really no flash there. But if we talk about guys who may or may not have an elite level to their game, we can now move on to the Penguins' last pick, Will Horkoff at 24, who they actually traded up for. They gave up their second round pick, their late second that they got from I want to say Chicago, and that 31st pick in order to trade up to 24 here to take Will Horkoff, who is really an interesting player, I think. He's very raw. He's playing at Michigan State. He's got blood wine. He's got family history in the NHL. It's a weird pick to me. He's huge. He's not a great skater. He's not a terrible skater. And he's not got a ton of skill that he's really shown at the college level so far. So, but he's got the frame. He's got potential. I guess like whatever that's. I don't know. He's not a guy that's shown flashes. Like I'm not excited about this pick. I'm just gonna be completely honest. I think this was a poor use of their second rounder in order to trade up for a Horikoff in particular, especially when there were other players available here. So it's kind of an interesting move. I think the ceiling is maybe there if you think about it. You don't have to you can't look at it and see the ceiling as much. He's shown flashes of some skill. He moves pretty decently for his size. I think he can play center. He is listed as a center. I think he could be an NHL center, right? So that's a good player, but I just don't see the top 6 potential, I guess.
Yeah, he's kind of maybe the biggest mystery box in this draft. I have him at 26 just because there's flashes that this could be a good guy. He kind of just gives off the vibe of a glue guy. That's just he's going to be the third guy on whatever line he's on, pretty much regardless. Maybe not. Maybe a fourth line he'd be a leader, but he's probably the third guy. He has good traits. He has good size. I saw some fine skating. I saw some decent positioning and offensive read. Fine in his own end. Not bad, not great.
Yeah.
But there's just really no outstanding skill. There's nothing I look at and oh yeah, this skill is going to translate to the NHL, right? I don't see
not an exciting enough pick.
Shot that's great. Not a great playmaker. He's not great. Stick handler. It's just kind of I don't know. He's just kind of decent at a lot of things. I think he benefited a lot from a few kind of similar to Merca, to where it's a few of the things around his name, being a center, having the last name Horikoff, playing at Michigan.
Yep.
I think that got him a lot more exposure. That if he was Will, Johnson, and he played at some small USHL school team, and he was a pure winger, and he's maybe a couple inches shorter. We're not talking about this guy at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't have hated the pick at 31 with that pick, right? But I think the fact that they lost to take a true lottery pick, even more of a lottery pick than some of the other guys that we've talked about here, right? This is a guy that it's really hard to know almost anything about how his game is going to project to the NHL level, just because he's so raw. So I wouldn't have hated it at 31 if we don't give up the pick for it, but it's I don't know, it's a weird one, I would say.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad pick. I don't think it's a great pick. I think it's. I mean, again, like I said with Reed, we're getting into a lot of buts. So
yeah.
It's not like you missed out. You missed out on Lakovich, but you're not missing out on a lot of
some
clear talent.
That's interesting.
Yeah, he's a weird pick.
That's the Pens haul, right? So we can talk about
talk about the Pens overall.
So the Pens coming into the draft had the 11th and the 12th pick.
Yep.
And they turned that into Kendall, and they turned that into Zana, and they turned that into Horikoff, right? So they got 3 picks out of those 2. It's a weird one. We'll see about Dubas. I think he really has to hit on Kendall here.
Yeah. You really hope Kendall's going to be the guy.
Because if you take a little bit of a reach for Kendall at 11, and then you trade out at 12, right? You're really saying this is the only guy that we wanted in this range, right? Yeah. That's really what you're saying. And so if you're wrong, then that's pretty big. And I think Kendall could be that guy. I think you see the potential is sky high for sure with this guy, but it's just are the Penguins development staff going to be able to get him there? So
Yeah.
I love the Zonin pick. Trading back for Zonin, I think is a super awesome move. I think he's a great fit for their system, and then Horkoff's a weird one where I wish they hadn't traded up for him, but I mean, I can't be upset with taking a flyer on an unknown like this,
Yeah.
So
I mean, wouldn't this team be so? Wouldn't this be so much juicier if they took like Eklund and then your choice of H. or Smith, whichever flavor you prefer, and then like traded up from one of your seconds,
right, to get Horkoff
to get Zonin?
Oh sure, yeah.
Then,
I mean, that would have been a killer.
Aren't you just a little bit happier if that's the case? Which, I mean, obviously there's a ton of ifs there. But I don't know. I
mean, they traded into the early seconds to pick up another reach pick in Kevels, but that there's no guarantee that a guy like Horkoff isn't there, or something like that. So, but it's there. It was an interesting draft from Dubas. I like Kindle a lot. I like Zonin a lot. So I would I'd be pretty content with it. But Kindle's pretty high risk. There were much safer picks to go with there. So if Eklund is everything that I think he will be, I think Pens might be kicking themselves in a couple years. But we'll see.
I don't think it's bad by any means.
Yeah.
But I think of between the Islanders or the Pens just walking up with 3 picks, who's happier? I think the Islanders 1,000% are happier. Which, I mean, they get Schaefer at 1, which helps a lot, right? But I don't know. I couldn't rate them on the same level.
For sure.
As far as their hauls, but the Pens are talent deprived enough to where I think you add as many spins at the table as possible, right?
Yeah. I mean, Kindle was the highest upside center available in the draft at 11. I think.
I could argue Coots, but yeah.
Yeah, sure. 1A, 1B, right?
Yeah.
But they're pretty similar. So I think you can justify the pick there, but yeah, certainly certainly the weirdest draft from all the teams we've talked about so far, right? In terms of actually making draft day moves and taking some reaches, right?
Well, one that we don't get to talk about quite yet, but Chicago took Vaslav Nestrasil at 25 with the Toronto pick. And he is an interesting player. I don't hate the pick. I had him at 27. He, to me, leans winger in the NHL. Could play some center, though, possibly. He's a distributor and a board battler. Uses his size to win net front. He is 6'6", only 185. So, he's got to get in the weight room and get in the cafeteria. But he has good size. He uses his size, which I love, which is very refreshing to me after watching so many of these guys in this draft. Oh, you got great size, and you never use it. He does use his size to win board battles, to win in net front. But he has skating issues, and there were several of what I watched of him passing up prime shooting opportunities. To where, and he didn't have a great shot, so I kind of understand it, but also kind of you got to take your opportunities. But he could be a decent bottom 6 winger, who's he's got dog, he's got size to back up that dog, and he is decent at passing and distributing. So him passing off open looks isn't the worst thing in the world. But yeah, he's got to work on the skating, work on the confidence, and he could be a decent player.
Yeah, probably not a black hole offensively for the defensive and energy that he provides.
Yeah.
Right. And then Chicago, a team that like pretty much has their core, right?
Yeah.
Already got to pick Frondell. Super duper ecstatic about that. Right now they get to pick another physical guy that's probably going to end up rounding out their bottom six. I mean, it's it's one of those cases where like not every team is going to make this pick, but it's justifiable.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it is perfectly arguable with a lot of the picks right around them. There's a elephant-sized Lakovic, sitting right here.
That's true.
But that you could take and possibly be getting a top six winger, which Nestor Seal will almost guarantee never be a top six winger.
Right.
But I think there's a decent chance for Nestor Seal to be an NHL player, but I can also see him busting out just because his skating never gets there.
All right, awesome. I get to talk about Riker Lee now, a guy that we very strongly disagree about. This is Nashville's last pick here at 26. I like Riker Lee.
I do not.
Yeah. I mean, he's got not the best skating, I would say, but I don't know. I think he's a really, really good playmaker. He's got really good puck handling. He's got a pretty good shot. Like as an offensive player, I think he plays a pretty good game. I know what you're gonna say is that you're worried about him being a quadruple A player forever, right? He has exactly that mold, right? The kind of guy that just never really makes the show because he doesn't really offer anything besides his offense, and he's not a great skater. So that there's not there, but I mean, like he could be, and also like he's a winger, so there's not quite that level of potential. I don't know. I just liked him. I liked watching him play. I thought he made some really, really fun plays. He's fun to watch. So,
I mean, I think, like, I don't think he's a player I would just say like no to outright. I just don't think he's a first round talent.
He's not better than Lakovic. I'll tell you
that.
No. Taken next. He's certainly worse than Lakovic.
Huge Lakovic-sized elephant here.
Yeah. For sure, that's a thing here. But like, I don't know. He's got a ton of offensive talent, and Nashville took Reed right at 21.
Yeah.
So like to me, he's a very similar mold to Reed, right? Where you see these flashes of offensive potential, and you see like the player that you want him to be, right? And it's just like, is he gonna get there? At these kind of picks in this draft, I mean, and with Nashville's level of talent in their system, if one of Lee or Reed is a good player, right, then this is a great draft for them. Yeah. So, I cannot ever justify this pick over Lakovic. But, like, as a player, I thought I liked watching Riker Lee a lot. And, while there's some misgivings about the skating and about the lack of, like, defensive play, the offensive talent that he has is absolutely, at the level of other players taken in this first round, so or above, so.
To me, he's just like a classic tweener. Like he has, I mean, I agree, he does have a lot of talent, but he to me he plays small. He's not like a Reshny. Like he's the same size as Reshny. Actually, he's a little bit bigger than Reshny, but like Reshny plays a little bit bigger. There's another player we said was 6 foot that plays bigger than he is. Carter Bear.
Yes,
like Carter Bear plays.
Yeah.
They're the same size player. They're both 6 foot, 180 something.
Yeah.
But Carter Bear plays a lot bigger, and Riker Lee to me plays very small. He has a great shot, right? But, and this is gonna miss a lot of people who potentially could listen to this. In 2K, where when you're building a shot, there is your release speed. He has a terrible release speed. This shot is so slow. He has to butter this thing up and just really drag it. And if he has the time and the space to do that, he rips it.
Yeah.
But like he did this in the USHL. Is he going to be able to do that in the NHL without a major rework of that shot? And if he does rework that shot, will it lose power, accuracy?
But you're right. I mean,
I just don't know if he's going to be able to afford it to have that slow release to get off that great shot.
I see your misgivings, but if Lakovic was not available here, I would not be upset with this pick for Nashville in terms of like a pure like raw talent trying to get somebody in their system that can do that stuff. Plus, maybe this is cope, but you need tweeners sometimes because they make your AHL team better. And then that makes the surrounding.
Are we picking first rounders on that?
No, we're not doing that. But like, you know what I mean. There's value there. There's value there. It's not a lot of value, but there's value there.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a couple forwards that they got taken outside of the first round that I liked.
Sure.
In this kind of similar Riker Lee mold, but yeah,
he's right around. This is right around where he's supposed to be, I think.
I guess.
Mm-hmm. So that was our last Nashville. I think we talked about it a little bit, but interesting draft from Nashville, going with the more high floor player with their pick at 5 in Martin, who I think is going to be a great NHLer, not an elite, top 6 player probably, but definitely someone that's going to contribute. And then 2 just absolute lottery picks, right? 2 absolute flyers. Lottery tickets, rather, just to like in Reed and Riker Lee, who are, very, very skilled, have a lot of deficiencies in their game. We'll see where they end up. I don't know. It's weird. Nashville's in a weird spot.
They're a very weird team.
So
we are.
Stay tuned.
It's very interesting team.
A whole episode for them. All right, you want to talk about your favorite player who hasn't been picked yet?
Oh my gosh, this guy is number 12 on my big board. He is just outside of that like 5 to 11 Hagens to Martin range, and it's Lyndon Lakovic. He's a pure winger who apparently just like bombed his interviews. And like there's always people questioning like his heart and like his effort. But like when I watched it, I don't know, I didn't see a guy who was like shying away from contact. He doesn't have like a ton of dog. Mm-hmm. But like he would carry the puck and a defenseman would pressure him and he'd kind of like body him off. So like I don't know. I can't say anything to his interviews because I wasn't there. And it's just like rumors that people heard that he may have bombed his interviews, right? So like I don't know why he fell this far, but like, he's got good size. He's 6'4", 190, right? Good sized winger. He is a sniper. He picks his corners.
He's got a great shot.
He does. He's
one of the best shots.
Good skater, not like elite, but he's a good skater.
And he's big.
He's big. He can distribute the puck. He's not a playmaker, but he's a good distributor. He's a real threat in transition from what I saw. He's not generating the turnover in the defensive zone, and I didn't see a lot of defensive play in his game, which is something that he's going to need to round out, and maybe is like so deficient that like everybody bailed on him. But like if he's the guy that is playing with, you put him with a Nesbitt, right, who is the defensive anchor at center, who's going to generate that turnover and then distribute it to Lakovic, sure. Like you're happy.
The kind of player that he plays well, like he is not he's not a play driver. He is definitely on the finisher side of things, right? But the kind of player that he's going to play well with are the kind of players you want on your team. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like every team is going to have those players. Like he's going to slot in perfectly on like a second line where he can play with, not the top end talent, but he's going to be like that finisher there. He's maybe going to score, 30 goals. I could totally see that, right? Like he's got that kind of talent in him, and I think it's crazy that he fell this far. I had him higher than Carbonneau, taken at 19, right? I think if you're taking wingers that aren't named Eklund in this draft, I don't know why you wouldn't take Lakovic here. So it pains me, Penguins fan, but I think this was an amazing pick from Washington.
Yeah. And I mean,
to finally pull the trigger. So,
like, I just don't know how we're picking not to single out the Pens, But like, I don't know how we're picking a guy like Horkoff, who's like a complete
Horkoff
mystery
can
box.
play center. He can play center.
He can't play center.
He can play center.
But like, I mean, we're talking about like a pure mystery box. And like Lakovic, we could sit here and say like, "Yeah, this is what Lakovic can do." Horkoff, are like, he's big enough to do things.
Yeah, for sure. And Lakovic is almost as big as Horkoff is. So,
yeah,
he's
I don't know how we're picking Riker Lee above him.
No.
Nestrasil, kind of like a complete opposite player, so I can kind of forgive it.
It's a different tier of player. Same with Zonin, right? Zonin's a different tier of player as well, right? But anytime you're picking an offensive player, I think in this, like, I think it was a shame to have passed up Lyndon Lakovic. So, killer pick for Washington for sure.
Yeah, great value pick.
For sure. But now we can talk about a really interesting pick in Sasha Boumedienne. I really like him. I think he's a defenseman that is different from the other defensemen. Not a Hensler, not one of the Hensler types. One of those guys that are just like safe and gonna play for the thing. I think he's got a real offensive like knack. Like he's got like that. That's a part, like a big part of his game, right? He's got a huge offensive game. He's a good skater. He makes stupid decisions sometimes. But like he's got so many offensive tools. He's got a solid shot. He's got the ability to play make. He's willing to get up in the rush, right? And he's got the skating to be able to do that kind of thing. Like, this is an exciting player. This is somebody I would have loved to see the Penguins pick up at 24, right? To trade up for. Like, I think he has the potential to be something like pretty good. He could be a power play one guy, right? The ceiling is very high. The floor is obviously low. With picks like this, right? He's got holes in his game. Maybe he never makes those good decisions. Maybe he never gets solid fundamentals defensively. But like, there's a spark here. There's a spark here that's like exciting to watch. So I like this for Winnipeg in particular. I think this is when you're picking here at 28 in a draft that is this considered not like high caliber, getting a guy with a ceiling as high as Boumedienne, I think is going to be really good for you. So,
yeah, I'm not as high on Boumedienne as you are. I do like, he does have a great sense of jumping into the play and jumping into the rush and being active positionally, and he can finish. But like, I just don't see a ton of the outstanding talents.
Sure.
And to me, he's going to be a decent minute eater, who will have a little bit more of that offensive upside than your typical minute eater. But yeah, I kind of like him. I also kind of just find him to be fine.
I'd rather pick a guy like him than a guy like Hensler if I'm most teams. Maybe you could make honestly, Winnipeg is a team that you could make an argument that they'd rather have Hensler, because they're a good team.
Yeah.
But I think if you're a bad or mediocre team here sitting in this spot, I think Boumedienne is like a pretty cool pick for you. I think you're feeling good about doing that. I don't know. I just like watching exciting players, but like he's kind of exciting. He kind of does stuff.
He is.
I like players that do stuff, because you can. I don't know. It's harder to, and I don't know this because I'm not a coach, but like it just seems like that killer instinct, like that willingness to like play make and to do these kind of things is like something that some players just don't ever get,
Yeah.
And so when you see a guy that clearly has that and clearly has some skills, right? He's a good skater. He's got a good shot, right? Like those are appreciable things about his game. I think it's hard not to be at least a little bit excited about him here at 28.
Yeah, I like the pick, especially compared to kind of some of the other options around here.
Yeah, Riker Lee.
Yeah, there's one defenseman that I probably would have gone with, but yeah, I think Boumedienne has a pretty good ceiling and good floor. I probably should have him higher, but I don't know. He just doesn't excite me as much as some other players. So at 29, we have Mason West, a D1 or D2 quarterback. Got offers. He is a hockey and football player, and has chosen hockey. But had college offers to play quarterback. He did not play in a relevant junior league hardly at all. He played a little bit of USHL at the end. I think it had maybe 10 games. I don't remember what it was.
Yep.
But he barely played. Played mostly high school hockey.
Hey, he had 9 points in those 10 games.
He did.
Just saying.
He did. But a guy that played mostly high school hockey, hard to really kind of project.
He's 6'6", 218, Colin, and he can skate.
I know.
Come on.
Come on. He's a big kid. He's got a ton of athleticism. He is a good skater. But, what is he doing in the NHL? I don't know. He has, no definable skill set or competition to judge against. He just kind of...
Yeah.
He's just kind of there. He's big and he's athletic and he's there. This guy is Horkoff, but
yeah, he's
somehow less credentialed than Horkoff. At least Horkoff, I could be I could see the flashes of being a good goal scorer, and
right.
You can see, okay, he looked decent against NCAA, top tier talent. Mason West, he looked like he was bigger and faster and more athletic than everybody around him in high school. And
yeah.
it's because he was.
Surprise! He's
it's because he was bigger
at 17 years old. Yeah, he's gonna be more athletic than the other guys in high school. I don't know.
I just don't know. To me, this is just not a first round pick.
Hey, we're gonna for sure.
To me, this is a mystery box you take in the second round because he's 6'6", 218 and is highly athletic.
But hey, it's Chicago's third pick in this draft, right? So,
it is.
You gotta cut him a little bit of slack.
Because, I don't think this is a bad pick.
Yeah, at 29, questionable. As your third pick in a draft, right? This is the third pick that you make. I think you take a flyer on a guy like this, and this is really a flyer. This is I've been saying take a flyer, but is this a flyer, right? So
this is the terrible footage that Giannis got drafted off of in Greece.
Yes.
Where he was playing in an elementary school gym, and there's some guy with a camcorder,
and he was malnourished.
That's way older than the camcorder's way older than it needed to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's kind of what you had to go on to draft Giannis.
Yeah. Well, hey,
and
maybe this guy.
This is kind of the equivalent.
Is he Giannis? Maybe.
I mean, I think there's a lot of Giannis types that do not make any kind of noise.
There are probably several of them that were drafted before him in this this thing. Those guys that have physical tools and just aren't going to end up making it. But weird pick.
It's weird, super weird pick. Not a first rounder.
Yeah, but, and then we get to Chicago's haul, right? And they've got Frondell, who was, we think, very good pick at 3.
Yep.
Right? A very good player that's going to be an immediate contributor. And then they take Nestrasil and they take West. They take a bottom 6 probably depth guy, and then they take an absolute question mark. I mean, it's an interesting set of 3 picks, And
I think it's fine because
because they're where they are.
Yeah. Their blue line is so set, they do not need a draft defense.
Mm-hmm.
This is a blue line that has Alex Vlasic, who's a good young defenseman now. Lev Shanov, Sam Renzel, Kevin Korchinski.
Yeah.
There's one more. I can't find him right now. There's another one that's of that caliber. Crevier. They have just these very good young defensemen. Their blue line is set.
Yep.
They have Bedard. They have your number one, ideally, hopefully, number one guy.
You have Nazar as well, right?
Nazar.
And another very good top 6 forward, right?
Oliver Moore.
you have Spencer Knight and Arvid Soderblom as like two pretty capable goalies that are still young and are gonna match this team's window, right? So like you can afford to make these weird picks in order to kind of fill out the depth of your roster. So they're going to be a fascinating team to watch for the next couple of years as these guys grow into their roles and stuff like that. But getting Frondell is, I think, huge for them. I think that's the exact kind of player that they needed out of this draft. I thought it would have been Martone. I think, it's but another like a complementary winger, right? A guy that's going to be able to play on a line and not be like, it doesn't have to like always have the puck, right? Like he's a guy, you give him the puck, he takes his massive shot, he scores the goal, He does some hitting. I mean, what else do you need, So they're gonna be a fun team to watch.
Absolutely. So then at 30 we have Joshua Ravensbergen, goalie, 6'5", to the San Jose Sharks. This is their last pick of the draft. I had Ravensbergen at 29, so right about where I thought he should go. He's positionally sound. He has good instincts. He doesn't flash because he's always in control. Like, I don't see any scrambling from him in any of the highlights I saw. He has always seemed to be in the right position at the right time. He is good size. I didn't see puck handling, which is kind of like the one thing that I think would really push him to be like fantastic. But like, this just looks like a good, reliable, consistent guy. Not a guy who's going to be a Vezina winner probably. Not like some elite goaltender, but like this is just a good, steady starter, I think. Somebody who understands his position very well. We'll see in a league where he maybe gets tested a bit more, how he does. But like, you just watch Ravensburg and he's just like, this is just a steady guy.
Interesting use of the pick, I will point out, though, so the team already has Askarov, right? And obviously Alex Mihaljevic, the best goalie you could possibly ask for. No, but I mean, they already have Askarov, right? Askarov is their goalie of the future. They're pretty committed on him, I would say, right? So it's pretty interesting, I think, to use this kind of pick on it. San Jose, a team that is bad. Team that has a lot of good talent on their roster. We move into talking about the full thing because this is their last pick, right? But still has some holes, I think. Like a couple more holes than some of the teams that are like than Chicago, for instance, who is similarly bad, right? I feel a little better about Chicago's blue line, for instance, than I do about San Jose's, right? So like, it's like this could have been Brustowicz, right?
Pick? Yeah,
this could have been a Brustowicz, and like I would have liked that pick a ton for them, right? I would have thought that was an amazing pick for them. So I mean, we'll see about them. They do have defensive prospects, right? But it's just like, I don't think they're not as set, right? They're not as set defensively as Chicago is, to where I think they can afford to make this kind of pick. I don't know. I
will mention real quick the 33rd pick of the draft, which San Jose did make, was defenseman Hao Chi Wang, who is the highest Chinese drafted player ever. He's 6'6". I watched a little bit of him. He's a big kid. He played in Canadian High School League, the OJHL. So he played in the low league, where he was kind of similar to West, where he was just like the biggest, most athletic kid in the league, like clearly the largest person playing hockey in any game he was in. But he has good stick handling and really good skating. He didn't leverage his size enough, in my opinion, for a guy who was like clearly bigger than everybody else. He didn't play like he was clearly bigger than everybody else.
Right.
But he has good stick handling, good skating, and good puck handler. So
yeah. So you think they properly addressed the position a couple picks later?
It's hard to say. If he did this in the OHL, I'd say yes, and he would have been a first rounder if he did this in the OHL. Because he did it in like equivalently a high school league. It's just kind of hard to judge like how good really were you. But So they did address it, and he also played a lot of right hand because I don't think there are any other right hand defensemen on his team. Right. So he is a lefty that played a lot of right side.
Yeah, you love.
So
that.
He has that kind of flexibility.
Yeah. No, I mean that's good to hear that at least there was that. I still think, and we'll move into Bruce Switch here.
Mm-hmm.
I still think he's a can't miss player at this stage of the draft. You know, he's a just a incredibly gifted offensive defenseman. Like, you know, you just don't those guys don't grow on trees. He's right-handed, right? He's right-handed, right?
Yep.
I'm not crazy, right?
Nope.
Remember that? Yeah.
He's
right-handed. He's, you know, I don't know. He's a right-handed, offensive-minded defenseman who is very good at attacking space, very good at contributing the rush, very good at passing into the slot. Right, like he is everything you want in your offensive defenseman, and he's got deficiencies in his game. He's only 6 feet tall. You know, you can't have these short defensemen out here. No. I mean, obviously, any skilled player is going to be able to do stuff, and I do think he has the skill to be able to make it to the NHL and to make a difference, and so that's why I like him as one of those high upside picks. That is just still hanging out here, and I don't really know why, you know.
Yeah, I had him at 25. Mm-hmm. I have him above like guys like Hensler and Boumediene.
Mm-hmm.
And like I thought about having him ahead of Reed, but I think like the upside of Reed is just higher. But like I really like Brucewicz.
Mm-hmm.
He is maybe the second best skater on the defensive side in this draft. Behind Schaefer. There's some other guys you could argue with them, but he's outstanding at that. He will need to play with like a defensive anchor due to some position and decision making issues. He will need like his Sergei Gonchar or his Chris Tanev, type player, but. Yeah, he has just great offensive upside, great offensive instincts. And I'll let you kind of make the point, but it's like we talked about previous to the recording of this, is that you kind of want a guy who is confident enough to make plays, even if, there's some, even if it may not be the correct play.
Exactly.
And you're like, I don't want him to, blow this defensive possession, but he has the confidence to go make a play happen.
Yeah, you want guys with confidence that are willing to do something to like make a difference in the game, not passive players who I think some of the other defensemen, the defensemen especially that were taken highly here in this draft, are more of that like passive kind of player. So. Using a first round pick on somebody that clearly has like that courage, that it factor kind of, and has the skill to back it up, I think is just a good idea. So this is a great pick from the Kings. I didn't mention that it was the Kings. This was the Penguins pick that they traded down. And also, I fully expect for this guy to be on a different team in 5 years because the Kings love trading away young right-handed defensemen.
Yeah, I still understand the Spence trade. I still understand it. Also, like, there's just no way they called every team and it's like, hey, we're trading Spence. What are you offering? Because, like, there's no way a best offer was a third from Ottawa.
Mm-hmm.
It's just crazy to me.
Yeah.
But rounding this out, this segment that has gone much longer than I thought it would, is Colin Potter to Calgary at 32. I actually kind of like Potter. I have him at 24. I feel like he's a guy that got passed on a little more than he should have. He is a pure winger, which I know is horrific. But he is a pure left winger. He has good speed in transition, and he's also a play facilitator. So a guy that, really nice taking the puck up the ice, making a good decision with the puck. He flashes a good shot. I really wish he would use it more, kind of like Zonin. He's sometimes too passive with the puck, especially in the offensive zone, kind of like in a setup where he's not in transition. Especially like whenever I saw him on the power play, it was just like, yeah, I'm just getting this off my stick and put it back up to the point. So he's kind of a transition merchant who has a lot of decent tools. I feel like he could have been taking over a guy like Horkoff or a guy like West that are just like straight up mystery boxes, right? Because at least I feel good about what I know Potter is. But I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
I'm hearing Kasperi Kapanen vibes here. Transition merchant, fast.
Yeah, but I think he has a little bit more IQ than Kapanen does. But yeah, he's in a similar lane, I'd say, to Kasperi Kapanen. Not dissimilar to him.
Yeah, it's
like Kapanen's like become a meme, but like he was pretty solid for Toronto for a number of years. He was solid with Pittsburgh for a number of years.
He was a completely serviceable winger.
His fall off was kind of crazy, and then like a weird rebound with Edmonton.
When you're all about the physical skills, but it's an interesting pick for Calgary, I think, because they need centers like tremendously badly, and they've taken a winger here. I don't know that there are they probably wish they were just a couple of picks higher. Like, I don't know, maybe like a Mason West or like you know what I mean. Like there are these kind of weird. They're the kind of team that wants to probably be taking like a flyer on somebody here, right? Where they can maybe get something, because they really do need that top end talent at the center position. So they didn't really address that here, but we can talk about their other pick, which was Cole Reshny, right? And Cole Reshny, I think, was a good pick that does help fit some of their things. I don't think Calgary got Calgary did not get their 1C out of this draft, at all.
No.
They probably didn't even get a 2C out of this draft,
probably
right?
Not.
So they're still
they probably drafted 2/3 of a third line.
They're probably you're probably they're it's so interesting because they're just too good right now. Like, they overperformed in a time when I don't think they wanted to, and we'll see if they if they're good, good again next year. But they might be in the where they need to sell Kadri off just to be bad enough that they can get the picks that they need in order to be able to get a 1C, because what is it? Wolf, right? Is their goalie, right?
Yeah, I think they might need him to break.
They might need him to take a chill pill, maybe miss a little bit of the season, because that's a guy they're ecstatic to have, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
Jesus Christ, did they find a home run of a goaltender? But I mean, he definitely played too well last year for them to really address the needs that they needed. So We'll see how Calgary goes going forward. They're a team that could also definitely try and take a swing on a UFA or a weird trade or something like that. I don't know. They need something. So
I really thought going into the season that Calgary was possibly the worst team in the league.
Yeah.
When you looked at their roster.
Mm-hmm.
But
I mean, they had a case for it, but they clearly.
But then Dustin Wolf was great. Huberdeau bounced back a bit. Kadri had a great year.
Yeah.
And I mean, they just kind of won games.
Yeah, they just won. Yeah, their forward group does not leave. Yeah, their center depth does not leave the most to be.
No.
Does not give you the most confidence in their future going forward. But I mean, there's some good supporting pieces around them. So, yeah.
Yeah, interesting draft for them and kind of for all these teams. I found myself I felt like I liked too many players in this draft. When like statistically,
Oh, I agree for
like
sure.
half the first round doesn't really pan out,
No, like half
and
these
like
guys aren't
good
making the
drafts,
show, and I
and it's supposed to
like
be
them.
like a not good draft. So like, odds are there's gonna be like 8 to 12ish of these guys that pan out, and I'm sitting here like, oh, I like 20 something guys in this draft, right?
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how it ages.
Yeah, it certainly will be.
And I just really I want to touch on one guy. I had Malcolm Spence at 21. I have no idea how the heck he dropped to 43.
Yeah.
He is a pure winger, but like he is a good finisher. He needs some skating work, but like he also has dog as an agitator. Like he will mix it up. He has a good shot. He needs some work, but like I feel like he dropped a lot when we're talking about other wingers that are kind of meh. So yeah, he was my one weird drop. All right, so our final segment here, I'm going to be sending Jackson some NHL alternate uniforms, and he's going to be blind ranking them. I have 5 pre-selected. There are more than 5 in the NHL, so he's going to be blind ranking these. If you want to play along as a listener, then NHLuniforms.com and just pick the most recent jersey of the team that you see. It's a great database of all the jerseys in the history of the NHL. Or if you're watching, then watch along. So starting off here, we have the Tampa Bay Lightning alternate.
Okay.
For the listeners, this is a black jersey, a bold white stripe at the bottom, a white, blue, and silver set of stripes on the sleeves, and then a more classic logo in the middle. Not their current logo, but not also their old logo. It's kind of like a modernized of their retro logo.
It's a good logo. That's a good version of their logo, I think. I am not much of a black jersey lover. I think they I don't know. This is like definitely giving 4 to me. I think I'm gonna go with a 4 here. I think it's just not my favorite. There's some really good alternate jerseys that I'm hoping that you picked. This one's just okay for me.
All right, your next option is from the Minnesota Wild, which their alternate is the North Stars Wild crossover, using the Wild's current logo, but with the North Stars colors.
And see, now this is why we rated the other one so low, because I love this jersey. I think this is sick. I love the green and yellow. I obviously love the Wild logo. I think it looks awesome in green and yellow. Like, this is great. I'm gonna put this at 2, but this I could regret that. This could be the best one that I see. I love this jersey.
All right, next up, you have the Winnipeg Jets, which this is a throwback to their Jets 1.0 jersey, but it is using the navy color that they currently use, along with the classic red.
This is oh man. I mean, this isn't 1 very clearly. So it's either 3 or 5. So it's pretty good. We can dock some points because we docked points for black before. This is red, white, and blue. We can dock points for that too. And I do like the Jets. I like that Jets logo. I think that's a pretty cool logo. I'm still gonna put it at 5 though. It's red, white, and blue. It's not that inspired. I mean, it's all right.
I do agree with the red, white, and blue, except I do like whenever they use navy or like a more maroon or crimson.
Oh yeah, like I think the Avs
rather than just like
great
pure
it's like maroon,
red, white, blue.
Plus I love the Winnipeg like normal jerseys. I think they look super slick. So yeah. I'm gonna dock extra points because it means that I don't get to look at them in their normal colors. So I will put that one at 5.
All right, so your 4th jersey is the New York Rangers alternate,
Fuck.
which uses the throwback shield street sign logo on a navy jersey with lots of thin stripes on the sleeves of blue, white, and red, and then thin blue, white, and red stripes at the bottom of the jersey.
God, this striping is terrible. I wish I had 5 still available, but I guess this is going at 3. This is definitely not going at 1. Please give me a good one for the last one.
Did you pick correctly? The final jersey is the Dallas Stars.
No! Fuck.
The Dallas Stars alternate, the black jersey with the neon green numbers, name, stripes.
This is.
And
I have to
D
put this
logo.
This is the worst. This is the worst jersey among the 5.
No,
I hate this jersey.
No, this is like top 2 with Minnesota.
No, the fucking Mountain Dew green. No, get me out of there.
The only thing I don't like is the logo because the D is not centered to Dallas or Texas. It's just like oddly askew.
It fits perfectly in the lower portion. No, it's a terrible logo. The numbering on this is terrible. The color is terrible. It's a black jersey. This is one of the worst alternate jerseys in the NHL.
Hard to disagree. All right, so no regrets on the list, right?
Yeah, lots of regrets. Lots of regrets on the list. I was a little harsh. I was a little harsh on that Jets jersey. I think now.
I think you were really harsh on the Jets jersey.
I think it's actually the second best jersey out of the bunch. So.
I say 3, but yeah. But yeah, well, thank you all so much for listening. If you made it through this far, all of our rambling about draft picks, I do appreciate everyone. If you're watching on YouTube, there's going to be like social links on the screen somewhere where we have all of the channels. I don't have them all memorized off the top of my head yet. And if you are listening, then thank you so much. And be sure to check us out on all those socials where we'll have this episode broken into pieces and also some extra fun content on the side.
Thanks for watching.
Have a good one, everybody.